Gents.
Hi, Chris.
Who've we got?
Stephen Warnock.
I think we can call him Stevie. I think we know him well enough now. Stevie Warnock.
And what a lad.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
I think he'll surprise loads.
I'm with you, John. That was one of my favourites.
And we've got your mate to thank from getting us on.
Oh.
Sir Robbie. He went to a Robbie Williams concert.
Oh, shit, yeah.
He went to a Robbie Williams concert and Robbie's pulled him over and said, any chance of you doing
The Undr The
Undr The
Cosh.
Cosh podcast?
Oh, well, thanks, Robbie.
Thank
Very
you,
much
Rob.
appreciate. Build them bridges. You never know when somebody's going
it.
to walk across them, do you?
Can we have a few clubs?
Yeah, well, of course we can. Go on.
Leeds,
Liverpool.
Blackburn.
Forest.
No.
Wigan.
Aston Villa,
That's him, innit?
West Ham,
Fucking hell, West Ham.
and England.
Oh,
Of course.
England.
Oh, before we get him in, I'm going to say thank you to the Patreons, like we do at the start of every episode.
People probably know now, but for less than a cup of coffee a month, you get 2 extra episodes a month and the back catalogue, which is... It was
130.
130, 140.
Easy.
I watched, remember Craig Short episode?
Yes.
Filmed it a long time ago. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
A lot of Warnock stuff.
What Warnock stuff. The stuff abroad in Ferrich Varos, if that's pronounced correctly.
That was the Blackburn link.
Speaking
That's
of
what-
Blackburn, the Blackburn's all-time leading goal scorer is on Patreon.
Simon Garner.
Simon Garner.
There's a lot like me. I reckon we'd have been a good partnership. Maybe not on the pitch.
Old
but
school.
In the boozer would have been a great partnership.
Less than a coffee a month?
Yeah, easy. Or anything else that's £2.50.
Yeah. Anything else is over £2.50. It's
Yeah.
less than that.
Yeah. But no, but like we always say, thank you very much. Really appreciate all the Patreons.
So if it weren't for you, we wouldn't be doing the free ones, would we?
No, so if you want to get involved, like we said, there's 130, 140 plus episodes on there you can get your teeth into. Should we get him in?
Yes.
Gracias.
Stevie?
Stevie! We used to do that, didn't we?
No, really
You
annoying,
like
innit?
it? Yeah.
Well, they don't.
Oh, sorry.
Obviously, you work for Sky. Did you get it free?
No.
You still have to pay for your own Sky?
Yeah. So, because I work for them, I'm on a non-contract. But if you're on a contract, which is like a Carragher or a Neville, you'll get all the perks and things like that. So, no, I have to pay full whack.
What, in movies and everything?
Yeah, full lot. Don't get anything. And do you know what? The funny thing is, I remember speaking to one of the commentators. I said, "Do you get like perks with like working for Sky?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I get all my phones for like about £5 a month and things like that." So then I get all like the Sky package and things. And I thought, all right, okay, so I'll ask about that. Asked about it, and he just come back and went, "No, like you don't qualify for it within your contract." So
You'd want a heavy bit of discount, wouldn't you? You'd think.
you think so?
you get a
wouldn't
bit
you?
of something. What, like,
Free.
Free. Fucking free. And everything. The fucking Frankie Vaughan channel on the watch. I want in the porn channel, fucking out Discovery.
Maybe that's why it went wrong, because I went in on the porn straight away. Yeah.
On a bill.
Give that free, and they were like, "No, bang about. There's something not right here."
I want to flick Nickelodeon straight to fucking Frankie Vaughan. Tight bastards.
You're in shock, aren't you?
That's hurt me, that. It's hurt me on your behalf, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Fucking
not
80
good.
snotters a month.
Yeah.
yeah. Getting into the very start, mate. I mean, that is. I was looking at the squad list of when you were coming through at Liverpool, and there's some heavy, big hitters there. Yeah. It must have been when you were first coming in. Were you nervous around the lads?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Because you just don't know which way it's going to go, and I looked at it and just thought, can I compete at this level? And I'd been on loan at like Bradford and Coventry, and I'd had a really good season at Coventry. And I thought, I'll come back as fully fit as I can be. And it worked in my favour that Houllier got sacked. So Houllier left in the summer when I was at Coventry, coming back to Liverpool. And Rafa Benítez come in. And I remember he came into the squad and he turned around and he just went, I watched all your games at Coventry. And I thought, well, all of them? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, I played left back, left mid and centre mid at Coventry. And he said, you're either a left midfielder or a left back. And he said, but I'll start you at left midfield. And I remember thinking,
That's
brilliant.
I'm just thinking back to Jason McAteer saying when Gerrard Houllier came in, and he was asking him if he was an international, and he was like, you don't even know who I am. And then Rafa coming in and...
I know, but when I was at Liverpool with Houllier as manager, I went on loan to Bradford and Coventry. So I did 3 months at Bradford during the season, picked up an injury, went back, and then went to Coventry for a full season on loan. And for the full season, didn't hear from anyone.
Not a peep.
Not one person called me. And I remember my agents at the time went in to speak to them, and I was thinking, I'm going to sign for Coventry.
Yeah.
Like, I'm quite happy to go back and stay there. So we were negotiating with Coventry to stay because I'd have been a free transfer, and it was just been, I think they were offering me like a 3 or 4 year deal, and I was like dead happy there. I enjoyed it.
But you thought the Liverpool dream were over.
And I thought it was over. And then my agent came on the phone and he went, yeah, you want to do a 2 year deal? And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, Houlier's gone. Benítez is in and he wants you to sign. And I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Honestly, it was like out the blue. And then I went back and I was like, I need to give this like a good shot because I thought it had gone. And then you get that sort of lifeline and you go, yeah, give it a good go. And then I think obviously that season we went on and won the Champions League out of nowhere. I think it wasn't really expected of us. I think everyone thought we were out of it as well. We had to qualify to get into it as well, like through the early stages. But that was just incredible.
Tell you what I'm surmising from that. Benítez needs to get a fucking life.
He's got this guy
Liverpool. He's not even a Liverpool manager, and he's watching Coventry games.
Do you know what the weird thing was? Like when I think it must have been the year after we signed Crouchy, and I remember we used to have like a 1K track on the Melwood, and you'd do about 7 of them, and he'd wait at the end, and he came over and he was like talking about like all the games that he'd watched and things like this. And I remember thinking, like, how's this guy like do anything? So the goalkeeper coach was like at the other end, and he was a Spanish guy. And we said, how many games does Rafa watch a day and things like that? And he went, he said, I came in today and asked him, did you watch that film last night? He said, I haven't got time to watch films.
He's watching footy.
I've got to watch football. And he's
surely he's going to watch one like double speed or something to get them all in.
Nothing. It's weird. Honestly, it's so strange.
If he'd have watched me playing, they'd go, fuck, he's quite fast. He's quite sharp.
Speed.
Put it in that channel, he'll fucking run after it, no bother.
That's class, that though, isn't it? As a young lad, just to hear that from somebody like him coming in, that he's watched all your games.
Oh, I just thought I was just going to, because I honestly thought I'll come in, I'll do pre-season and I'll get farmed off on loan again. So it was pretty much like a waiting game to see where I was going to go and what I was going to do. And he just came in straight away and was like, right, you're going to America. We went out to America. And I was thinking again, I'll be like a sub out in America. I pretty much started most of the games or like played a majority of them and like got loads of game time. And I was thinking, it was massively, because it was just so unexpected.
And how did you feel?
Because of him, the manager, because he had such a great reputation coming in from Valencia.
And even with him giving you that confidence in offering you that contract, playing you, how did you feel confidence in yourself, ability-wise, coming from Coventry back in around like your Xabi Alonso's and your Gerrard?
Well, that was the thing. I think I grew into it because I knew I'd had a good season. Yeah. And I think the lads who had been there previously had seen a difference in me and gone, oh, he's matured and changed his game. Or I think when you first step into a first team, you're a bit frantic, aren't you? And you're a bit overwhelmed by it all. And I probably was for about the first 4 or 5 days. And then I was like, just enjoy
calm down.
Just calm down a bit and get on with it. I grew into it because I knew I'd had a good season. Yeah. And I think the lads who had been there previously had seen a difference in me and gone, oh, he's matured and changed his game. Or I think when you first step into a first team, you're a bit frantic, aren't you? And you're a bit overwhelmed by it all. And I probably was for about the first 4 or 5 days. And then I was like, just enjoy
calm down.
Just calm down a bit and get on with it.
We need to say a big thank you, gents, to our sponsor for this episode, MatchBingo. I know you want to hear all about it, don't you?
Certainly do.
What's your favourite number, quickly?
69.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Well, yours?
Same.
Yours?
2. I mean, it's all about making the match a bit more exciting, I think.
And it's a bit like a lottery, isn't it? Because you don't know what you're actually going to get.
We all know the rules of bingo, don't we? You get your card for the game, and we've got a free one for the Undr The Cosh listeners. You get your card, so many corners, so many saves, maybe there'll be 2 headed goals or 1 headed goal.
If you've got that number, cross her off. Dabber.
Get the dobber out.
Dabber. Not dobber.
Dobber.
Dobber, not
Did you
dabber.
say dobber or dabber?
Dabber.
It's a dobber.
It's a dabber. But we're splitting hairs, aren't we? You know what I mean?
Usually, I think it's £2 a card to play the game. But what's really good about this, I think, is that a big proportion of that goes to help a charity as well. So I think it's this
35% of every card purchased supports the Stroke Association.
There you go. So it's a bit of fun. Bit of fun with the game, but also you're helping people out as well.
Exactly. Have we got an offer? That's the main thing.
Silly question, John. Silly question. We've always got an offer because, like we're saying, it's usually £2 a card for the game, but Under the Cosh listeners, free card this weekend, Fulham v Man City. So all you're going to do, click on the link in the description or follow the QR code on screen and you'll get your free card for the Fulham v Man City game.
And you must be 18 or over.
Or, of course, and you got to play responsibly as well.
Please gamble responsibly.
There's other games as well this weekend where the prize is going to be over £1,000 per game. Forest v Chelsea, Man United v Arsenal. You get involved with them. Like you said, £2 for the card. Good percentage of that going to charity. Chance of winning over £1,000.
35%, 70 pence in your £2 going to charity.
Can you imagine celebrating a throw-in in pub?
Yes. The foul. He's got sent off. I'm not bothered. My fouls are up. Dab, whatever it fucking is.
So yeah, links in the description and the QR codes on the screen to get yourself involved.
Well, it did start terribly wrong at Coventry, didn't it, on your pre-season trip?
Yeah, didn't go well. Yeah, we had a...
This don't happen at Liverpool, by the way.
No, it doesn't.
This shit don't happen at Liverpool.
Well, incredibly, no, because I'll tell you, I'll go into that. So we went on tour with Coventry. Gary McAllister was manager, Eric Black was assistant manager, and we'd had like a tough pre-season, but he went, right, we need a bit of team bonding. So it was like, we're going to get like this, it was almost like a raft with a bar on it going down a canal. And he was like, we're just going to go out and have a day on the booze and get to know each other and things like that. They had loads of new players in, a lot of foreign lads as well. Anyway, we've gone out on the piss, and later on we get back and we were like, can we go out tonight? And he was like, absolutely, make sure like everyone goes and gets on it. So we were like, right, okay. So a few of us wandered down to like the local nightclub. It was like a 5-minute walk, and we get down there and get chatting to like the doorman or the owner or whoever it was, and we were like, we're a local, like, we're a football team from England. We've got like 30 lads. So we all right to come in tonight with shorts on and things like that? And he was like, yeah, no problem. So go back and drinking for a few more hours, come down, and then get to the front, and he was like, yous aren't coming in. And we were like, why? We came to see you before. It's like spoke to you face to face. He was like, no. I think he just thought there's too many here. And do you remember David Pipe?
Yeah, I played a big pipey.
Yeah, I mean, he was stacked. He was massive. And he sort of pushed him out the way, and Pipey squared up to him, and I thought, oh, fucking hell, here we go. Don't need this. And he started like face to face, and like lads are trying to separate it. And the fella's just like whipped a Cosh down, smacked him. And I've just got, and like it had knocked anyone else out, it had killed them. And he just stood there, took a blow to his face, and then he's just knocked him out. Pipey's just floored the fella, and I thought, oh fuck, we're in trouble here. And it just started kicking off. All their doormen come running over. There's a few fights. Anyway, I legged it, and a few like
Shit times.
yeah, absolutely. No chance. I'm not staying there. So I've legged it.
Sandra,
Yeah.
Good luck, lads.
Hey, I weren't the only one. I was following the others. Yeah. But I fell as well. So I fell off this wall. It was pitch black. I remember falling down. Must have been about like...
Ran off. Still ended up with a black eye.
10, 15 foot down, and I landed on, I think it was like a brick or something sharp anyway. It went right through my thigh. I've still got like the scar on my leg now. So, and I remember thinking, I just need to get back to the hotel. Didn't know where I was. Ended up at like a petrol station, and there's like 5 of the lads, and I was like,
hiding.
Out, like, thank fucking found you. Yeah. And found them, and we were all buzzing thinking, right, got away with it. Riot vans come round, lashes in the back, and there's like all the lads are in there.
So
they've all been caught, all got all of us.
Rounding them up?
Yeah, so they've got us all in this van. We're thinking, Jesus Christ. So getting a police station, they put us in this cell, but we've got us in like 2 separate cells next to each other. But they give us all our mobile phones. Like we've still got our mobiles on us. So we like rang through to like the coaching staff, and we're like, listen, we're in prison, whatever, we need getting out. And what have you.
Who's made the phone call?
I can't even think.
Can you imagine it? You'll phone it. I'm not fucking phoning. You'll phone it. No,
It's one
chance.
of them, no strength in numbers, isn't it? Because there's a few you're like,
I think there was 14 of us, 12 or 14 of us.
Jesus.
So we're all in this, like, split us like into two cells. But I just remember thinking, like, we're going to be here all night. And then lads have been on the ale all day, so like bellies start going a bit, and there's like one toilet in there, like in each cell.
An open one as well.
Yeah, open one. So we can talk through to the other cell, but there's just a bars through. And Callum Davenport, he was on loan from West Ham at the time, and he sat on the toilet having a shit. And one of the lads was, fucking hurry up, I need to shit myself, hurry up, be quick. So he wipes his arse, and there's only one toilet roll in the thing, so he chucks it out the cell. And the lads are like, you fucking bastard, fuming.
It's like Green Mile, isn't it?
So all the lads are like desperate. And I'm like, one of the lads has a shit, uses like clothes or whatever, wiping his arse, and it was a nightmare. But it was horrible. But then I went from that, being like, we got out, we had to pay about, I think it was like €700, something. Didn't get in the press somehow, or it did. It might have got like a tiny little piece, but if you imagine that today, it'd be chaos. Yeah. And I remember like next season going away with Liverpool, we were in a prison cell, but it was your room. You weren't allowed out. We went to America, went to New York, and went to like New Jersey. And I remember we were in the room, and I was with, do you know Zach Whitbread?
Yeah.
So me and Zach were in a room together, and there was a shopping mall opposite, and I remember thinking, I wonder if we can go in there. And like looked out the window, and you could see like senior players running across the car park, like looking round, thinking, like trying not to get caught. And I'm thinking, they're international players.
They're all men.
Yeah, worrying like they're not allowed out. And I'm thinking,
Going to a shopping centre, not
exactly.
a bar.
And then got inside, seen a few of the lads, and they were like, you haven't seen me. I was like, my God.
is that from the manager then?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like when you're on pre-season, it was like we did 2 sessions a day, and in between he expected you to rest. Like it was like you don't go out.
That's up your street, that, innit? Chucking the toilet roll.
Oh yeah, that's my. Yeah. If I'm done, if I've got rid of mine, fuck yous. But over the years, how many times you sneaked out pre-season drinking? But
yeah,
sneaking out just to have a walk round and buy a top.
I know, ridiculous, honestly. And it was the same whenever you went away with England. Imagine like Rooney going out for a walk, going to try and grab a coffee, like down the road. It just doesn't happen, does it? What's that?
I just got a luggage in my head again.
Yeah.
So did you continue in and around the team throughout that first season? I'm just thinking about the lead up to Istanbul and.
Yeah, I played more than I thought I'd play. I played quite a lot of games in that season, and some good games and some bad games. Where I remember playing Olympiacos away before the famous game at Anfield, and we got beat 1-0. And I played the game before at Norwich at Anfield, and I got like man of the match, like I think set up 2 goals or something like that. Played really well. And I remember thinking I'd never played back-to-back games because he'd always rotate it. And this was like the first season of rotation. Like
you and Reece?
Rafa was Reece, Harry Kewell, and Traore.
Right.
So it was like 4 of us on that left-hand side who would just constantly rotate. And I remember thinking, like, I've got a chance of playing away at Olympiacos here. Got to Olympiacos, and what we used to do, like, night before the game, you could always know if you were going to play from the training and how he'd do the setup and who'd be playing. But you also knew who was rooming with each other. You could work the team out off that. You could work the back 4 out.
You got to be better than that.
Yeah, you could work the left back and left mid out. So you'd room together as the left back and left mid.
Who's
So
keeper?
it's like, what's that?
Who's keeper with?
Sub-keeper.
Right. So he's the only one who's not purring up.
Yeah.
See,
So-
when we were away, they used to split the keepers up in case one of them got ill.
Right.
Oh.
And it makes sense, really, doesn't it? If one goes down,
Yeah.
they're both going down.
Send that to Rafa.
It goes out, does it?
No. But
So you knew that.
so I knew I was playing, but I remember when we got to Olympia, like to the ground that night, like the day of the game, their fans were in, like as soon as we come out to a warm-up, we could hear them banging through the roof of the changing room. And I was thinking, shit, like this is big time. And I just absolutely, I completely admit it, like I shit myself.
Yeah.
I came off at half time. I was
Like that
awful.
cell.
Yeah, no, I was terrible. Do you know when you just like absolutely like gone from being up here to all of a sudden just being like like so low. I felt like I was well out my depth. And I remember thinking, like, I've got to fucking do something about this. And I remember coming back on the plane, I was devastated. I was dead embarrassed, couldn't look any of the players in the eye. I was like, felt like, well, that's me done at Liverpool. And then just managed to work myself back into it. And played quite a few games, to be fair, leading up to the final, and played a lot of games during the season as well. The thing was, as well, I'd had it twice. That was the second time. So I actually, when I made me first start, was the game where... I'll never forget this. I played away at Bolton, and it was Alonso's and Garcia's debut as well. And Luis Garcia was in the team, and I roomed with him. He fucking kept me up all night. He was on FaceTime at like 2, 3 in the morning.
I thought you meant wanking.
Like you.
No.
It's like wanking that Garcia.
Yeah.
Fucking 4 times last night he pulled it off.
But he was on FaceTime to his family or whoever it was at like 2:30 in the morning. Do you know what you're thinking? I can't really turn around and say, will you fucking go to his brand new signing? Like
2:30, I'm turning round.
Yeah.
Put
But
it
I'm
away,
thinking,
Lewis.
I don't want to upset him or anything like that. I was fucked in the game the next day. And I remember thinking, you bastard.
Yeah.
I was fuming.
How did Benítez deal with that though? Bearing in mind he's brought you off at half time, he could have thought this could sink him. How did he bring you back the other way to give you the confidence boost or whatever?
No idea, because he didn't speak to anyone. His
Did he
man
not?
management's horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I'll say this, like I've said this to loads of people. Tactically, brilliant. Man management, zero. Like absolutely no idea how to speak to anyone or talk to anyone. And it was like summed up with Istanbul. Like Istanbul was like an absolute disgrace. How he treated me and a few of the other lads. But he just didn't care. He
In
was
what
just
way?
like-
What was the crap we're using?
I think it was like 2 weeks after the season, the Champions League final was on. That was when it was getting played. So we were in for 2 weeks leading up to that. And then 2 days before we were going over to travel to Istanbul. And I remember the last training session, every time that the squad went up, you get a squad list of 18. So it'd be your first 11 and 7 subs. So you knew you were either playing or on the bench. There was no added 2 players or 3 players to travel. It was always, that was the squad. And I remember like running in after the last training session thinking like, please be in. Looked on the squad list and my name's on the squad list. And I was like, fucking hell, it's Champions League final. I'm on the bench or I'm playing, one or the other. So I remember like showered as quick as I could, ran outside, got my phone. I was like, rang the family and I was like, listen, get the plane tickets, going to Istanbul and all that. I said, I'm in the squad. So I'm like at home, packing everything, getting ready. And then my phone goes and it was like, it was Paco Ayestaran, who was the number 2 at the time to Rafa. And he goes, we've made a mistake on the squad. He said, you're not in it.
No way.
And I was like, what? But the thing was, this wasn't the first time this had happened to me. So earlier on in the season, we were playing Tottenham at home. And I remember thinking the day before, I'd played well against Aaron Lennon previously. We played them away and I'd done all right. It was like my first game for Liverpool. I played away at Spurs. Done all right against him playing as a left mid, but like tracking him and things like that. So I thought, I've got a chance of being in the squad here or playing. And anyway, goes in after this is the Tottenham game. Goes in, looks at the squad, not in the squad. It was my mate's birthday that night. We were in training the next morning. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going out. I was pissed off, but we were in training at like 11 o'clock. But what you'd do is you'd come into training, we'd train, and the first team would come in and do a walk at the same time. They'd have the pre-match and then they'd go the game. So I'd been out the night before, I've had a right skinful, comes in, going out to training, mates drove me into training, go out, I'm just sat there, put my boots on, and Rafa comes over and he goes, what are you doing? So I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, where are you going? I said, I'm training. And he was like, you're playing today? I was like, no, I'm not. And he was like, yes, you are. So I walked him into the change room. I was like, look at the squad. And he was like, that's the wrong squad. He's like, you're starting. So I'm sat there thinking, I've got to say something here. What do I do? Do I play, make a fool of myself because I'm like, well, I've been out? Or do I go and tell him? So I was like, sat there and I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to make a decision. So I went and spoke to him and I said, listen, I went out last night for a few drinks. Why? You shouldn't have. You've got training today. And I was like, come on. I was like,
Fuck off, Rafa.
yeah, I was fuming because I was like thinking I should have been playing at Anfield then you're telling me I'm training with the reserves or the squad, and then you fuck me off. And I was absolutely fuming. So anyway, he goes, right, you're on the bench. I came on for like the last 20 minutes. I'm thinking, who does that? Who puts you in that position?
Have you had a proper drink as well? Have you had a proper night out?
Shots the lot. Yeah, gone for it. Do you know, like not just like a few like social ones. Yeah, I've had a good night out.
Yeah.
Because I was fuming.
It's a talk of basics.
Yeah.
To go and tell him.
I know. So I told him that anyway. And to be fair to him, he respected it. And he was like, right, okay, I'll put you on the bench because I've fucked up and whatever. But then we did the Istanbul one. I got that phone call and he didn't even have the bollocks to ring me. And I was like, you fucking coward. I was fuming. And I remember thinking, like, you bang out of order. The team travelled, played a game. After the game, he comes up to me and he just goes, I'll speak to you next week or something like that. Didn't apologise, just like, I'll speak to you next week. And I remember thinking, like, at the time, it shouldn't come into it, but it did. It was like one of the biggest games of like football's year, but our bonus was massive either way. It was 100 grand to lose it and 200 grand to win it. And I was thinking, fucking hell, that's a massive amount of money because I weren't on much money at the time.
And who got it? Pro rata for how much you played?
Whoever was in the 18. Doesn't go pro rata across the squad. Literally, if you're in the 18, you get it. So the other part of that was me thinking, fucking hell, that's a nice, lovely bonus, that either way.
Is it?
Yeah. But I remember...
Fuck it. Come on, Crespo. Put another in. I'm 100 bags. Fuck it.
But you're a young lad, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you are. You're thinking, I've come from like thinking, last year I'm going to be playing in the Championship with Coventry, being on decent-ish money, but nowhere near that summer money. And all of a sudden, so I'm like, fucking hell. And then I remember like Gerrard come up to me after the game and said like, it's shit what happened. Like, we'll make sure you get your money. I've still not seen it. But do you know, you just go like, why say it?
So you didn't get anything, any bonus for winning it if you weren't in the 18?
No.
If you played 2 or 3 games?
No. So you got a bonus in like leading, like you get a win bonus individually per game or a draw bonus or whatever. But on the final, yeah, that was it. It was hard for me because I'm a Liverpool fan. I grew up like standing on the cop and everything. And I'm thinking, I fucking hate this team. Like what's going on here? I was fuming because I was like so angry. It was not like I didn't hate the team. I hated Rafa. I was sat there thinking, I'm so happy for the lads, but I'm also pissed off that we like the way things have played out. If you've ever played in a final or you've not played in one, you don't feel part of it, even if you've played your part to get to it. And I remember like that night, just going to bed and he said, right, the plane leaves at this time in the morning to go for the parade in Liverpool. And then they changed it and said, all the squad who were involved, the 18, and their wives or girlfriends. So they put all them together, bearing in mind they'd been on our flight coming over, the wives and girlfriends. And we flew back separately, missed the parade. I watched it on Sky Sports. And you know, you're just like, what? And I paid for it. Yeah. But that was like part of it. And you know, you just go like...
Did you miss it because of the flight?
Our flight was late coming in. So the lads literally landed, the team that won, or the squad, they literally landed at Liverpool Airport, got ferried to the buses, wherever that was, which was quite close, and then just started the parade. And I remember, I think it was Darren Potter ended up on the bus, because he got a taxi to it. I didn't even know that was like what was going on. I just remember thinking like, what a shit show. My mindset then was like, I'm gone. I'm
really?
leaving. Yeah, I'd pissed off. Just because it had happened like a few occasions that season.
Understandably, by the way.
Yeah. So I was like, right, I'm leaving. And at the time, Liverpool wanted Lucas Neal. He was at Blackburn. And Mark Hughes wanted me to go to Blackburn. And this was in the summer. So I was like, absolutely. Quite happy to do the deal. And Craig Bellamy came in the summer and was like, listen, Sparky wants you. I've spoke to him, give you a good like thing. This was after like pre-season and what have you. And he was basically said, I spoke to him a few times and told him like what you like as a lad and what you like in training and stuff like that. I was like, well, thanks very much. So I get a phone call. Blackburn have agreed a fee with Liverpool. So I'm like, right, okay. So gets in the car. I'm halfway down the M6 and my agent goes, pull over, need to chat. Pull over, I need to chat to you. So pulls over in the service station. He goes, deal's off. And I was like, why? And this is like final day of the transfer window. He said, Liverpool don't want you to go. Said they haven't got enough cover and things like that, and they want you to stay and they want you to try and get in the team and whatever. So I thought, fair enough. If they want me to stay, fuck all I can do about it. So goes back in the next day. I'm in the treatment room and Rafa walks in and he just looks at me and he went, what are you still doing here? And I went, what? And he was like, I thought you'd gone to Blackburn. And I was like, I got told that you'd pulled the plug on it. I didn't. And it turns out it was the old board. They'd made the final decision that they didn't want to see a young local lad leave and they wanted me to have another fight to try and get in the team. And I was like, fucking hell. So literally, I just went to Rafa, right, I'm going to ring my agent. I just walked out, rang my agent, told him straight away, and I was like, make sure that deal happens to Blackburn in January. I've got to get out of here. And luckily got out. But you think like, how many fucking times can
Sounds like a circus.
So can you understand why is my management zero?
Yeah.
Is it the fact that it doesn't care, or you think he's concentrating that much on tactics and other stuff that it never enters his head?
Possibly, yeah, quite possibly. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because I'll never know.
Would you say he's an arsehole? As a fella? As just a straight up fella? You think
no,
he's an arsehole?
No,
or
I
he's
wouldn't.
a nice fella?
He's actually okay, but I think he's just, like you say, maybe just caught up in everything. But I mean, I'd have more respect for it. I respect him because he gave me my debut for Liverpool and he gave me an opportunity. I played 67 times for Liverpool, like my boyhood club. So I've got massive respect for him to give me that chance. But on the other side of things, I'm like, the sides of it where I just think, how's that even possible?
Thing is, we give you shit for messing names up on research. This is like an admin error.
Champions League final.
Champions League final. Who's to blame? Obviously, Rafa's not going on his computer and printing the list
I've got
off.
no idea. And that was the thing,
Stephen
like,
Willock playing at left back.
It's unbelievable. I can't get my head around it.
I know.
It is mesmerising, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that he's obviously the clubs and the CV, that something like that had slipped through.
Exactly.
And that,
I know.
in that bigger occasion as well.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what actually happened. Like, where's it gone wrong somewhere down the chain?
Get him on. Find out.
Because he's obviously writing names down. And has he gone home and thought, and had a change of heart?
Yeah, or is it a genuine mistake?
Genuine
It'd
admin
be a
error.
genuine mistake because, like, whoever the other person were, it's not going to sound like Stephen Warnock, is it?
Well, it wasn't, because it was Hosemi, who's Spanish. So he'd been out for the season. And what I got told was, and I don't know whether it's true, I'm not really bothered, that he went up and knocked on the door and said, like, I'm not happy that I'm not in the squad. And they changed it. And I was like the youngest player within the squad or an academy player. And it was like, well,
So it's one rule
out
for
he
one.
goes.
So is
But then-
he got all his 200 grand then?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you look at the photo, he's front and centre.
Cup in hand.
Oh, no, he is. Like, he's right next to Gerrard. As he picks it up, he's got like a Spanish flag round him. And he is literally like trying to grab the trophy.
And he's played one game all season.
Did you see Carragher about it? Because in that particular picture, Carragher's not even in it. He's stretching or getting his calf stretched off in the background.
Is he?
And I think he mentions that.
Yeah.
Me saying there's people who haven't kicked the ball fucking like that with a trophy.
Yeah. Incredible. Yeah, so.
Does he look like with no clothes on, Rafa?
Wouldn't have a clue.
I've never seen with no clothes on.
No, can't help you with that
What are you
one.
thinking?
Round. You know, a bit like one of them clowns that you push over and it pops back up. Just with some legs coming out at the bottom. You know what I mean?
They're mannequins.
You know that shape that I mean? Push it over and it comes back up. Just like that with some glasses on.
Well, please, we've got to the important stuff anyway. Finally, fuck that Champions League shite.
So what were her man like? Because when he a big smoker and that, did sort of Benítez not try and change him with that? Did he know about that?
Not really. I think you accept that, don't you? It's just part and parcel of it. I mean, I went to Blackburn. We had two guy go out for a warm up, and like just before we go and do all the sprints to come back in, he'd get the nod from the fitness trainer, and he'd run in on his own. And I remember thinking, like, where's he keep going? And he'd go in, he'd get ciggies, and as you'd run back in, you'd run past him, and he's like, all right, lads. And I was like, wow. Only be the best player on the pitch every game.
Yeah.
So, like, you just knew, don't you? If it's not going to change them, is it? It's not going to make them, like, a better player if you take them off it for... You've smoked all their lives.
Thing is, from your point of view, you've you played 40 games for Liverpool and signed for a good Premier League team, hadn't you?
Yeah.
So it's like,
I
as
was made
growing up,
up.
you're thinking, I've done all right. Even though you've left Liverpool,
Yeah.
you're signing for a good club.
Yeah, and I think I knew as well, like Mark Hughes was a well-respected manager. It felt like, obviously times have changed now, but the club was stable as well and in a good position.
And they really wanted you.
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing. I was so happy to get there. I think I signed on something like the Thursday, and then we had an FA Cup tie away at Luton on the Saturday in the third round of the Cup. And there was me and, do you remember Big Chris Samba? Yeah, me and him made our debuts on the same day. And my two best mates are Blackburn fans. One of my mates, his dad used to play for them, Alan Ainscoe. He played for Blackburn and Everton and Blackpool and things like that. So he was a Blackburn fan, and my mate's from that way. So he was like, turned round and my two best mates are in the Blackburn end with the Blackburn tops on. I thought, this is fucking brilliant. I was made up. I was absolutely made up. Do you know when you think, imagine leaving Liverpool thinking like how hard it's going to be. I'd never been happier.
And how long after leaving were you back a Liverpool fan, if you know what I mean?
To be honest with you, it was probably a couple of years later when I was at Blackburn and we were playing Liverpool at Anfield, and it was the Hillsborough Memorial. And I got asked to lay a wreath in front of the cop. And I remember walking down with the wreath and everyone standing up and like applauding. And I remember walking and laying that in front of the cop. And I was crying doing it. And I remember thinking like, fucking hell, this is like one of the proudest moments of my life, not football career or anything like that. And I don't think I've ever had a moment like it again. Like the hairs on my arms are standing up now. Like I get emotional talking about it because I know people who've lost family members at Hillsborough and what it meant to the fans. And I remember thinking after that reception and how the fans were with me, I was like, it's not the club I hate. It was the situation. But yeah, it took a while. I was properly pissed off. And the thing is, like, I was probably a little bit young and naive. I was probably 23, 24. If it had happened now, I'd have gone and confronted him.
Yeah.
Because I think I was more scared of, if I go and confront him, I'll never play again.
Going on to Blackburn, I remember speaking to Dave Fever about Bentley, and he absolutely loved him.
Yeah.
He used to have house parties. Did you ever go to one of his parties?
Yeah, I did. But the thing is as well, he'd invite all the staff.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like just a lads thing. It'd be like all the staff, all the partners and things like that. And it was everyone, like receptionists, you name it, everyone came, kit men, the full lot.
I'll invite off. Yeah. They've all turned up.
Would everybody turn out?
Oh, yeah, because you knew it was going to be a great night.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like, get yourself
You can see fire eaters and night guard as you're walking in.
Like, hey,
Sparky's not turning
fucking
up,
did
is
have
he?
them, by the way.
Did it?
Oh, yeah, it was the full shabam. Like, when he did it,
But
was like
where'd it been before Blackburn then?
Spurs? No, not Spurs.
He was at Norwich, wasn't he, on loan?
Norwich on loan, and then it was Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember turning up at, like, thinking, like, this kid is unbelievable. I remember thinking to myself, he's going to play for England for years. He was that good. Like, beat people individually, cross a ball like there's only 3 people I've ever seen cross a ball, like, with unbelievable precision. Bentley, Beckham, and Jermaine Pennant. Like, 3 of the best crossers I've ever seen of a ball. And you just think, like, the quality he had was phenomenal. But he'd score goals. He'd change the game in a heartbeat for you. He was one of the most naturally gifted players I've ever seen. But he was brilliant around the place as well. Every day came in, and it was like he'd had 5 cans of Red Bull before he could be in the car and come in. He'd just come in bouncing everywhere. And the atmosphere with him in the changing room was phenomenal. It was always like David Bentley and Two Guy. Two Guy come in and he'd be like, why are you fucking moaning if you've lost? He's like, it's not going to change anything. Like, you have to be positive about it. So his attitude to everything was like completely different. Whereas like you'd always like think you've got to sulk around the place, wouldn't you? Two Guy was like completely the opposite as well. I mean, we had an unbelievable team. We finished 6th in the Premier League, and you forget like how good that team was. And no one wanted to play us as well. Like, we were fucking horrible to play against, but we could play as well.
Who was the best manager for you out of Mark Hughes, Paul Ince, Big Sam?
It's a tough one because I loved all of them for different reasons, but I think when Mark Hughes, because he took me into the club, but then I looked at Big Sam in a completely different way. I mean, like Mark Hughes wasn't the greatest man manager, but he'd tell you to your face if you weren't playing, or he'd tell you if you weren't doing something right. Whereas when Sam came in, Sam had that next level going into like the sports science things and all that stuff. And I really like that. I love seeing that side of the game and evolving and things. So I was like, quite enjoyed that side of it. But his humour, he was fucking brilliant around the place. I mean, I don't think you can find, I think you'd struggle to find 5 players who've worked with him who hate him.
Yeah.
I think you'd struggle to find 5 because everyone I speak to, when you say about Big Sam, they're like, oh, fucking great, isn't he? It's mad. Like, everyone enjoys working with him. Like, we used to, I mean, you were at Blackburn, you know, when you walk in reception, you've got like in the where the secretaries sit, the receptionist,
yeah,
you've got a microphone and you used to be able to ping it around the whole building. So he'd sit there and he'd have the microphone on and he'd just like press it and he'd go, yeah, on the fucking state of his clothes walking in here, Jason Roberts. So like, do you know, like Robbo would walk in with like, he'd have a pair of like pants on with a pair of Ugg boots or something. Do you know, like, and he'd be like, fucking state of this guy. Like, he'd hammer them. And it was just like, do you know, when you walk in, you think, what's this guy on about? And I remember I was sat in my house and I was watching a Hull game. We were playing Hull at the weekend and it was like a relegation scrap game. And Sam and Carl Robinson popped up on the screen. So Carl was the assistant manager at the time. So I messaged Carl and I went, fucking size of the gaffer's head. Next thing is Carl's phone's going and I was like, he didn't see that, did he? And he went, oh, you fucking dickhead. And I was like, oh, sorry, gaffer. So he was like, I'll fucking speak to you tomorrow. But I knew I was all right. It was fine. So comes in the next day and he gets us all in a like a sort of a huddle and to explain what the training is. And he turns around and he went, so this is what we're going to do. He's like, I was at Hull last night and this knobhead, and he points at me and he said, start slagging me off about how fucking big my head is. No, he's like, and it was just like, that was like, but his personality and like the way he like approached everything was like, it was fucking brilliant. He was such a good guy. Like, I just think of like some of the stuff that we did, like when we were away. We went to Italy and we spent like 10 days or so in Italy. And then we were playing a game out in Croatia. But we were flying into Croatia on the day, playing the game, staying and flying straight home. So we get to Italy, we get to the airport in Italy and we're on this like, so almost like a private plane. But we had all the crates with us, you know, for all they call the kit. But because we'd been there for so long, it was like quite a lot. And they went, you can't put that on. It's too much weight. Like the plane just won't take it. We won't be able to fly. So we were like, fucking hell. So we had to get another private plane, but a bigger one. Anyway, it was like I think it was a Sunday. So he's trying to get hold of the chairman and he can't get hold of the chairman. And he goes, right, fuck it. I'll get it. And we were like, get what? And he was like, I'll get the jet. I'll pay for it. put 40 grand on his credit card. And we were like, fucking hell. And he was like, I'll get it back off the fucking chairman. Like, because we had to play this game contractually.
What are we going to tax it?
So honestly, yeah.
Fucking dick. The same guy chewing up. I'll get it.
Yeah. So we're all sat there. So he calls, like, he goes to me, Undr Houllier and Ryan Nelson. So Ryan Nelson was captain, I was vice captain, and Undr Houllier was like a senior player. So he goes, right, find out what you can about Croatia for a night out. He was like, we're having a fucking night out tonight. So he was like, this is shit. He said, we've had a fucking great 10 days, but this is going to ruin it. It's not happening. So anyway, we play this game and we're all like texting as many people as we can. And Undr Houllier knew, I can't remember his name now. He's a Dutch player anyway, playing in Croatia. So he says, can you set up a night for us? He was like, yeah, I've got the ideal place for you. I'll box it all off. So Sam basically goes, right, just fucking put it on that credit card. Tell them whatever they need, put it on there. So we were like, great. So he gets on the bus, plays the game, come off at 0-0 after the game, and gets on the bus and he stands at the front with the microphone. He went, right, that was a fucking mess today. He went, I expect everyone, and I mean fucking everyone, to be down in the bar in 10 minutes when you get back to the hotel. He said, everything will be sorted. We're going on a night out. If you don't turn up, you're getting fined. And he went, that's my fucking decision. He said, even if you go for 10 minutes, half an hour, don't give a fuck. You go and you all have a drink together. So we were like, right, great. Goes up to the room, come back down, no word of a lie. The bar was like probably double the length of this room. It was full of beers and shots. And he was stood there and he was like, right, all that fucking needs to go in 10 minutes, right? And he went, and outside, there's a row of taxis. They've all been paid for. They know where they're going. I'll see you there. So we were like, fucking hell, great.
It's class, this. I know.
So go out, like all lads are drinking, get out to this nightclub. Well, it was like an outdoor nightclub. It had a swimming pool in the middle and all these beds round it. And just like walked in, I like looked and I'm like, well, like looking for the table. And all you can see is Sam going, like dancing in the middle. And you're like, fucking brilliant. And he had like a few of the staff members with him. We had the best night, like unbelievable night. And then about 1 o'clock, it was going on to like 4. And he's like, we weren't leaving until like 2 o'clock the next day. He was like, he turned around to me and Ryan Nelson. He was like, who's the most sober out of you two or trustworthy? So I was like, Nelly, like, give it, why? And he went, here's me credit card. He went, if you need anything else, that's me PIN number. Stick it on that. And we were like, fucking what a guy. So we told all the lads and said like, listen, he's paid for everything. And like none of the lads took the piss and everyone the next morning was like, thank you, like, thanks for last night and whatever. So we were thinking like, that was it. He sent flowers and cards to all the wives and girlfriends to thank them for them being away for 2 weeks and for like looking after kids and appreciating like it's hard and like being away and whatever. And all the wives get on like, he's fucking great him, isn't he? So he wins over that side of things, makes life easier.
Thing is, when the season started, you don't remember the running, you don't remember any shape that you've done, but you'll remember what you've done that night. And you think, I'll run through a brick wall.
Massively.
For this.
Do you remember Vince Grella? So Vinny was like an Australian Italian. He played out in Italy for years. Real technical player, tough as like one of the toughest lads you'll ever meet. And I remember when Sam got appointed, he was like, fucking hell. He was like, I'm not fucking playing this style of football. It's like, it's too hard to play. He's like, I just want to play football and whatever. I remember walking into this meeting with Sam, his first meeting, and we all walked out and went, I can't wait to play this. He just changed the way you thought about like how he was going to play. Because he basically just said, listen, don't fuck about in the final third. Middle third, I'll give you a license to lose it a bit. If you lose it too many times, you'll hear me on the sideline. In the top end of the pitch, do what you want. Just make things happen. But he broke it down in so many ways. And we all just walked out and went, this is going to be fucking brilliant. First meeting. I've never heard meetings like it in my life. I used to walk out on meetings. We were playing Man City at home. They just signed like Robinho. They just signed Robinho and people like that. And I remember thinking like, these are almost like the Galacticos and coming into town. And we were thinking, this is going to be fucking horrible. We walked out that meeting thinking we're going to beat these. We'd have gone into that game under most managers thinking this could be, if we can keep it respectable. We went into most games thinking we'll win this.
Do you know when he had a rough time with the fans on him at one point?
Yeah, just because of style of play.
Did he call a meeting and address it and say, you won't play for a better manager than me or something?
He always had that in him. It was like a massive confidence in himself. Even if you got beaten a game and you didn't feel like you created too much, he'd come in and go, like even little things where it's not quite broken the box, he was like, that could ricochet another way next week and that's us scoring a goal. And you'd be like, yeah. And like, Joe, you're thinking...
just those little things.
Little things in your head, the positivity. Yeah. I mean, Sam was the first time that when I was a player that I'd worked with a sports psychologist. He brought in a sports psychologist and like Jamil was unbelievable. But no one bought into it straight away. Everyone was like, fuck's this all about?
Yeah.
And I remember we went down to Ewood Park from the training ground and everyone was going down thinking, this is going to be a shit show. Like, what are we doing here? Don't need this. And this guy was like, Jamil was stood at the front and he had a big, like a A4 sheet on the easel thing. And he'd like a flip chart, sorry. And he'd wrote a few bits on it. Anyway, he pulled one of the lads up and he was like, pleased to meet you, I'm Jamil and whatever and things like that. And then he did like a few things with him and he was like, at the end of it, he just basically turned around and he went, do you want your Rolex back? And he took his watch off his wrist and we were all like, fuck's he done that?
Is he a cyclist or a fucking pickpocket?
So we were like, someone went, what the fuck's this all about? So he was like, that's my like I can do that side of things as well. And that was his way of getting the lads on side, was like, so because then he went, oh, do you want your belt as well? And he took his belt off him. And we were all like, the fuck's he done this? So straight away, he'd like gone from all the lads like not really being interested in to suddenly going, this guy's fucking like, how's he done this?
Yeah. It's easy for win a couple of footballs. Just do a magic trick and rip probably around.
But it was one of them. But like he brought this in, like this culture, and changed things. We went to an away hotel, and as we walked into this hotel, Jamil was there. It was one of the first weekends he was there. And he went, did you see that library on the way in? And he was like, yeah. And he went to Dunny, go and get a book, any book from that library. So he was like, right, okay. Goes and gets a book, and he comes back and he went, like, how many pages are in it? So he was like, 327. So he's like, to one of the other lads, pick a number. So he's like, 57. Go to page 57. So he goes in that. He went, roughly how many lines are there down? He was like, 40. He's like, right, pick a number. And he picked the number on the line down. He was like, started reading the line. And we were all like, oh my God, how's he doing that? He's reading the line off the 40th line down. And we were all like, what the hell is going on? The next day, like after that game, the weekend, Monday morning, the lads were queuing up to see him. No, I was just thinking like straight away, he's got the trust. But that was like Sam, like way ahead of the curve on things like that. But he brought in the right person as well. I played arguably my best stuff working under Sam and working under him from a psychology point of view, is how to approach games and things like that. And then I went to Villa and I stopped using him just because it was like, wasn't part of our thing, really. I should have just said, like, I'll just pay for the sessions with you.
Yeah.
I'd played all right for the first 6 months or so, and then had a bit of a shitty period for a year and a bit. And then in the third year, I remember thinking, I'm going to ring him. And I rang him and I fucking played well again. Just like working with someone constantly.
Like, Stephen,
yeah.
I've been expecting you. I've seen your performances.
I thought it'd be quicker than this, though.
I've been watching for the last fucking 18 months.
Yeah, exactly.
I was expecting it a lot fucking faster. I'm still trying to work out how he's got his watch and his bell.
It's brilliant.
Artful dodger.
Honestly. But he did this thing, like, it sounds a bit weird, but it's like, he said to me, I'm playing Fulham away, and it was like bottom of the table sort of game, and we were needing a result. And I played centre mid that night because Sam had moved me into centre midfield, because he said, I just want you to run round in centre mid and win the ball back and be organised, but give it to two guy. So as soon as you win it back, give it to two guy, and two guy can have some freedom. So I was like, yeah, no problem. And Jamil was in the hotel that night, and he said, you're willing to do something tonight, like therapy work? And he said, I think it'll work really well for you. So I was like, yeah. So he went, I'll come to your room later on. So I was lying on the bed, and he starts doing he's like, close your eyes and visualize the game and things like that and what's going to happen. And he's like, can you hear the crowd like singing your name and things like that? And I was like, yeah, and whatever. He was like, how'd you visualize the game going? And I was like, I'm making tackles in the midfield, I'm setting things off and whatever. And I just woke up the next morning and he'd gone, and I was like, what the fuck? He'd hypnotised me.
I had no pads on.
I know, that's why I was like, I've got to be careful how this goes.
Just have me the check.
Yeah, it's all right. No, it's all right.
Just put a soda cream outside.
I know, every time I tell that story, everyone's like, not sure about this. Yeah.
But did you wake up?
I woke up thinking like I felt ready for the game, and then that was probably, I think I should have scored a hat-trick that night, apart from Mark Schwarzer. Like, me and Mark Schwarzer see each other in the media all the time now, and I like laugh about it all the time, and he's like, prevented you getting arguably one of the best hat-tricks. I hit the post, hit the crossbar, and he tipped two round the corner.
I'd have struggled with all that.
Would you?
Getting my head around it to start with.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, fuck.
But that's what the thing was, though. Everyone else was. But then when you get him coming in, so his background was him and Darren Brown went to uni together. Darren Brown went off doing that side of it, doing the TV stuff. And he was more interested in doing like the sports stuff. So he worked with like England cricket team. He worked with golfers and things like that. So straight away you're thinking, he's got substance to it.
Yeah.
I bet he got a nice watch.
But it's got one of Tiger's.
When the big came in from Villa, and obviously you're loving it.
Yeah.
Sam, you loving playing in under him. Were it just an opportunity that you couldn't turn down?
There was like a few things to it. Capello had basically told me if I wanted to go to the World Cup, I needed to be playing at one of the teams fighting for Champions League and stuff like that.
Right.
Just for that level of pressure to play in bigger games and things. I think that summer, me, Rocky Santa Cruz and Matt Derbyshire went. So there was an element that we had to balance the books to sell the club to the Venkies.
Right.
So we got told by the Jack Walker Trust that basically we had to go to balance the books in order to sell the club.
Right.
It was a very tough decision, but it was also a decision where Villa were on the up and they had a lot of money. An ambitious owner, Martin O'Neill, was manager who I was looking forward to working under. And it was just one of those moments where you go, I think the time was right. We played Man City on the first game of the season. We got beat 2-1. I think it was Adebayor who scored the goal. And then the next game, I sat out the next game. I didn't play because I said, well, if I'm making this move, I was like, I don't want to get injured and cost the club money, and I also don't want to cost myself a move. And I got a bit of backlash from that from the fans. And then came in on the morning I was leaving, and Sam basically, he just said to me, listen, do you want to stay? I can give you a new contract. I can try and sort that out. He said, but I know the club are pushing to get rid because they want to, again, balance the books. I think like the profit on me was, I think I'd signed for 1.2 million. And then I ended up getting sold for, I think it was 9.5, which was like, for the club, you can understand it from that perspective where they balance the books a bit. I cried leaving Blackburn. I was gutted leaving like all the staff and things like that because it was like such a great environment. I loved going into Blackburn every day. Absolutely loved it. It was like so enjoyable. The people there were great. The staff, the players, the team we had. So it was tough to leave, to be honest with you.
I bet the tears dried up when you saw your Aston Villa contract in there.
A little.
Yeah, Villa, they were on the up. They've got loads of money. Go on then, I'll go there, Sam.
No. It was, to be honest with you, when I went in there, it was a bit like, there was me, Richard Dunn, James Collins. We were like the three signings at the back that they'd just invested like quite a lot of money in. And I was looking at Richard Dunn thinking, fucking hell, I'm getting to play alongside him, like top defender, like even better guy. And you're just thinking, this is going to be great. And it was great for a long period of time. And it was great until about December. I got a call got shouted in from John Robertson, who was the assistant manager. And he was like, Warnie, Gaffer wants to see you. So I was like, all right, okay. And everything all right? And he was like, yeah, just come in. And Gabby Agbonlahor just goes, don't listen to a fucking word he says. So I was like, what? And he went, it's your mid-season review. He was like, just ignore it. He was like, just trust us. So I was like, right, okay. So I walked in his office and it's probably early December. And he goes, right, how do you think you've done? So I was like, I think I've done well, settled in well, like assisted a few, loads of clean sheets. We were like fourth in the league, third or fourth in the league. And I was playing like arguably the best I'd ever played. Right. Let me tell you how it really is. You don't do this. You don't do this. You need to do this. This needs working on. And turned around and I went, the fuck did you sign me for? And he like looked at me and he went, what? And I went, what did you sign me for? And he couldn't believe it. And I was like, what are you trying to achieve here? And it was like the reverse psychology.
Are you,
and I was just like,
are you
not having this.
Older and stronger now where you will stand up?
Yeah. And I was just like, at the time, I was like, my God, I couldn't believe it. So I went, why are you picking me? If you think this, why are you picking me? And he was like, well, I think you're doing all right, but I think you can do more. Yeah. And honestly, I walked in the changing room and all the lads are like, sort of like, what did he say? So I told them and they were like, fucking hell. And he was like, don't believe a word he's saying. And I was like, no, I've gone. My head had gone. I just wanted to go home. And we had to go out to train. And I just remember thinking like, fucking hell. But again, like if I'd have worked with a psychologist, it would have just been like, forget that. Do this, this and this. But like he lost a few of the players doing it. Because I remember I was meant to sign for Villa. They tried to sign me the year before. And Blackburn wouldn't do the deal for some reason at that time. I think it was, I can't remember what it was about. They signed Nicky Shorey. And I heard from one of the lads playing at Villa who I was speaking to at the time, Nicky Shorey was playing. He was having a little bit of a tough time, and he turned around to Nicky after one of the games, and he went, "Nicky," he said, "Do you know when I signed you?" And he went, "Yeah." He went, "Did you leave your legs in Reading?" And Shorzy just went, "The fuck? Like, who does that in front of the whole team?" But he was like being like genuine, talking about it. It wasn't like a joke. He was like, "You fucking don't do this, this and this." And there was like an image where like there was a picture when Nicky Shorey was coming off, and it was away at Fulham. They were playing a game, and he pulled him off the pitch, and you can just see Nicky Shorey wording the words, "Fucking cunt." Do you know, like right at him. He was fuming, but that was like the way he was. He would just be a nightmare.
Did your performances just fall off a cliff after this then?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I struggled massively. But I remember we played in the Carling Cup final. It was the Carling Cup then, against United. And I just remember going into the game thinking, like, I've got no confidence whatsoever. I played in the semi-final against Blackburn. We played Blackburn. And I think I was at fault for one of the goals, but then scored at the other end. And I remember just walking off the pitch thinking, I'm not even asked. Just won a semi-final. I remember just walking, and I was staying in a hotel that night in Birmingham. And I remember just sat on the bed thinking, just got to a Carling Cup final, but...
Lost the love.
Yeah, just lost it completely. Thinking like that was, what would that have been? I can't even think what that'll have been. Would that have been January or maybe December to qualify for the final in February? And I just remember thinking like, I'm not even asked. It was weird.
Are you getting in the England squad at this point as well?
Yeah.
And how was that?
Yeah, that was probably a little bit of a respite, a little bit of a change of scenery and things like that.
Really should be a confidence boost.
Yeah, it was, because I was obviously doing something right to get in the squads and things like that. But it was difficult because I go away with England and you'd have best left back in world football, so you know you're not going to play. So you know you're going away for 2 weeks to train somewhere or 10 days, but essentially you're not going to get a kick. But I didn't mind that because I just accepted that straight away. That was one of the interesting things, was like, as much as I got pissed off with other stuff, that was the easiest thing to accept in my career. Was like I always laugh with people and go like, me and Ashley Cole have got 109 caps between us. Sadly, he's got 107 of them. But that was like the acceptance was like, that's how good he was.
I think you thought,
you just go, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
He's fucking brilliant.
It's like someone saying, "Oh, I'm going away, but Alan Shearer's playing in front of me."
Yeah.
You fucked, aren't you?
Yeah. The way I looked at it, when I went to the World Cup, I just looked at it and went, I've got the best front row seat as an England fan. I thought I get to train with them every day. I get to sit in the meetings, sit watching the games on the bench. What a fucking experience this is.
Very quick breaking play, gents. 1, because it's lunchtime, and 2, for a very special message from HelloFresh, sponsoring this episode.
What have we got, John? We have got, I'm going to be pairing for you, zesty breaded sea bass and chips.
You said you wanted fish and chips for dinner.
With garlic mayo and baby leaf salad. And this is the bit that's really going to blow your mind. Calorie smart, under 650 calories in this, lad.
Yes.
Sensational. You might be wondering why I've got swimming goggles on. That's because when I'm using this, I always like to think safety first.
Yeah.
Because
Shows your technique.
Chips, John, chips.
Too thin.
If you're not aware of what HelloFresh is, we've all been on HelloFresh for some time now. Choose your meals. It's perfect if you're a family of 4, or if you're just not into cooking that much. How many meals have they got to choose from? Loads of different varieties. Caloricious. Is that the word?
No, calorie smart.
Calorie smart.
We've got the whole calorie.
Calorie. You got under 20 minutes.
Yeah, the quick stuff.
That's the one, isn't it? When you can't be bothered on a night.
You been at the gym and that.
Chop a couple of turkeys.
So it comes to your house like this. You've got all your ingredients in here. Lemon and herb seasoning, breadcrumbs.
All your mayo, tatties, all at the ready, and your lemon. Who's got a lemon hanging around in the fridge?
The fish is in the fridge, but this is what it is. So easy to use.
Step-by-step instructions.
Step-by-step instructions.
Just don't cut your chips.
More like a toenail, innit?
See, you should have followed the instructions, John. Chop the potatoes into 1 centimetre wide slices.
I'll be honest with you, these
If you
goggles...
think that's a centimetre,
You've done it all wrong. You've ruined it, in fact.
These goggles are a bit mucky.
Thankfully,
Let's see what we're chopping.
plenty more tatties to go at.
But yeah, so all your ingredients,
foolproof, near enough.
That's the key. That's the word, foolproof.
Foolproof. You cannot mess this up, can you?
And the meals are, it's language of a restaurant.
Yeah. Top
All
quality.
fresh produce. And of course, we've got an offer.
This is the main thing.
60% off your first box, 25% off the rest of the boxes for the next 2 months, every week.
That is an offer.
That is an offer
And a
indeed.
half.
Eh?
Is there a code?
Is there a code? All you've got to do is go over to HelloFresh, the link's in the description or the QR code on the screen, and use the code COSH60HF. You get 60% off the first box, 25% off for another 2 months after that. So yeah, just scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the description and use that code COSH60HF. What an offer, by the way. Come on.
Oh, am I finishing it off?
Chop.
What do you think? We're just doing it for a video? Or? We're watching telly. Give us a shout when it's done.
See you in a minute.
Don't feel safe without my goggles on.
Did Martin O'Neill do his, if you win,
See you
come back
Thursday.
in Thursday?
Oh my God, it was ridiculous. I didn't move when I left Blackburn to go to Villa. I remember going down for the first 2 weeks looking for a house, thinking, right, I'll try and buy somewhere down here. And I remember going in and I was like, I said to Steve Sidwell, I was like, who's that guy who you're always here with? And he was like, he's my driver. So I was like, well, you drive from London? And he was like, yeah. He went, we're never in. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, maybe you'll come in on Tuesday or Wednesday. And he said, sometimes we'll come in on Thursday. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, play Saturday and then you'll be off till Thursday and you'll train Thursday, Friday, game Saturday. And I remember thinking no chance, not a chance.
Result pending or result dependent?
Yeah, pretty much. But we were on fire. We were winning most games. We had a great team and we were flying at the time. But it was led by Ashley Young and Gabby Agbonlahor. So they come in, they were the two golden boys, and they go see you Thursday, Gaffer? And he'd be like, yeah, why not? Why not?
Why not?
And honestly, it'd be like that most days. And then sometimes he'd go, no, do you know what I'll do? Come in Tuesday, do Tuesday, Wednesday, so you can have Monday and Thursday off, and then we'll do Friday. Yeah, we'll do that. And then you get a message saying, see you Thursday. He'd change his mind because the lads are moan.
Was training intense?
No.
Lads will moan.
I know. What the fuck were you able to do? I wasn't training on a Monday and a Tuesday. But after all of this, Martin,
Hey,
I'd see you Thursday.
if you speak to Gabby Agbonlahor, or probably more so Gabby went to Vegas twice in New York that year in the season because we had that much time off.
Were the lads not unfit?
Yeah. We blew up. We blew up in April. So there was a team meeting around about March time, and it was led by James Milner, who basically said, we're not fit enough. We need to do more. And O'Neill took the knock massively. It was how dare you fucking question me? He was fuming. Millie was super fit, would do the running machine after training, would do his runs on his own and things. But he knew as a whole, as a team, we weren't fit enough. And we weren't.
Was he right?
Yeah, 100%. And we blew up at the end of the season. We were fucked. We were absolutely fucked because we hadn't trained properly. And
I bet he were furious and all, Milner, weren't he? Raising there weren't no training for him to go and do.
But do you know what the big thing is? I'd gone from ultra professional at Blackburn to going in at Villa. And I remember signing thinking, how the fuck are these where they are? I was thinking, this is so weird. So just to put it into context, Luke Young, our right back, took the warm-up every day. He'd literally take the warm-up every day because the fitness guy didn't want to do it and wouldn't do it.
What were he doing?
He stood talking to the manager. So Youngie would go out and he'd pick up hurdles and ladders and he'd go, come on, fucking in you come. He's not fucking going to do it. I'll do it. And you'd see Youngie would go out before everyone and be doing laps because he had sore hips at the time. So he was he needed to warm up properly. And he was he'd get everyone in and do the warm up. And then we'd get in training, we'd do 5-a-sides every single training session. We never did tactics. Everything was off the cuff in the game. It was just we've got a fucking good team. We're well organised. We've got players who can win games. So we had Milner and Petrov in centre midfield. Then you had Nigel Reo-Coker and Steve Sidwell as their backup, if you like. You had Ashley Young on one side, Stuart Downing on the other. Then you had Heskey, Agbonlahor and Carew up front. And then you had like an experienced backline, an experienced goalkeeper. So we were a very good team, but it was all off the cuff. Absolutely bizarre.
It sounds like even though it was the biggest positive, it was also the biggest negative. You know, getting the days off, five-a-sides every day is brilliant. But
lifestyle, incredible.
It catches up weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does massively. And that was one of the things I learned, like as I got older, I was like, can't have too many days off. Do you know, like for the later end of the season, like there's got to be a balance, hasn't there? It's dead tough because you want time off to be away from the place. But then long term, it's only going to affect you because we were devastated we didn't get in the top 4.
Days off are nice, aren't they? But you want to achieve. Yeah, that's what.
You don't get anything for a day off, do you?
It's like that's what's got them there, though, in a way.
Yeah.
It kind of got there by the team spirit and getting the lads on side that way. And then
finding that balance.
Yeah.
Massive balance, isn't it? But he just didn't get it right because even like when Millie complained, he used to do this thing about O'Neill where he'd walk out with 4 poles and you'd see him walking around, not even like round the pitch properly, and he'd just plant a pole down and he'd march off and he'd plant another one down, he'd plant another one, he'd come back and he'd go, lap in 54 seconds, go! and you're like, and you get back in, it'd be like 53, 54, and you'd be like, the fuck did he know that? Do you know what I mean? You'd be like, how's he done that? And then you'd all be like getting ready and he'd go again. And you'd be like, fucking hell, so you do about 7 laps of this thing. And then when you finish, you go, you fucking happy now? And he'd storm in. Oh, it's so like,
towards Alec,
massively. Yeah. After training. No, after training. Right. Like, so it'd be sometimes where, because we'd had a go about the training.
Yeah.
As he opened it up to everyone and everyone was like, do you all feel the same? And we were like, yeah, pretty much. Like, we need to get fitter. We're dying at the end of games. Like, we need to be better. But you can't catch it up at that point. It's too late.
So was it a shock when he resigned?
Yeah, it was, because it was like 3 days before the start of the season. But that was over Milner leaving because it got done quite late and he wanted all the money. So it was, I think it was 30 mil that Millie left for. And then part of the deal was Stephen Ireland came in and then they just kept the rest of the money at the club, didn't reinvest it. And that was what pissed Martin off.
That's understandable, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you want to get...
Yeah, it was, but then there's got to be an element of, like, you're fucking leaving all us in the shit now. So he brought in Kev McDonald, who was the reserve team manager, and Kev got the job on the interim, and it was going really well until we played Newcastle away, and then we got absolutely dick 6-0, I think it was. And we missed a penalty to go 1 up, and then we got beat 6-0, and Kev lost his job after that.
So what are your feelings when you hear Gerrard's coming in?
I was worried. I was worried because of me sort of previous with him at Liverpool and how things had gone. So I was thinking, not sure how this is going to go. And I played, which I was quite surprised at, to be honest, even though I was a regular in the team.
Have you got all the lads asking what's it like?
Yeah. And I was like, I can only tell you what he was like at Liverpool. Whether he's changed, I don't know. But I didn't really know him, if I'm being completely honest. He never spoke to me.
Yeah.
And I played in a charity game, like in an international break at Anfield, and I was a Villa player, and he came up to me and he goes, he started asking me about Villa, and I was like, are you getting the job? And he was like, I've got the job. And my heart sunk. You just think, fuck, this isn't going to be good for me. I know it's not going to be good. And,
well, you're established England international at this point. Was there not a bit of you like, I'm not like that young kid anymore?
No, a different person.
So when he did come in, though, he was completely different with me. He was brilliant with me, and I thought, oh right, great. And our relationship had completely changed, and it was really good. But because Martin O'Neill had this, let's say, flexible training schedule, I was still living in the Northwest, and I'd just stay down every now and again because it was like an hour and 20 minutes to my house. And then I'd get a hotel and I'd stay over a couple of nights. Anyway, Gerrard Houllier came to me and he said, listen, you need to move to Birmingham. It's unprofessional. And I was like, yeah, no, that's fine. I can see that. I said, but let me get to January and then take the kids out the school that they're in. I'll sort a house out and I'll move them down there. But in the meantime, I'll come down and stay more often. And he was like, right, okay. So he turned round, and bearing in mind, I played for England against France and Wembley, or came on a sub in a game. And he came to the game and he was dead proud, like made up for me, like came in, gave me a hug after the game and was like, congratulations, like you deserve this. You've been really good since I come in the club and your levels have gone up. They're getting better and better. And he said, like, you can go further, you can get so much better. And I was thinking, fucking brilliant. Like, I was made up. And then he pulled me, Brad and Emil Heskey and Brad Friedel. And Brad and Emil lived in Manchester, but they're a little bit closer to Birmingham. So he basically turned around and said, whenever we play in the Northwest, you don't have to ask if you can come home. He said, I know you're going to go home. That's fine. So I was like, right, great. So about 2 weeks after that game, the France game, we played Man City away and I conceded a penalty. I scored a goal. I didn't have a great game. I hold my hands up, didn't play great. So after the game, I've gone home, come in on the Monday, and he goes, he pulls like a group of like 10 people in, 10 of the lads. And he said, you all went home without asking me. So I'm stood at the back thinking, well, he's obviously got me wrong here. So he goes, you all owe me an apology. So he goes round them all and they're all like, yeah, sorry about that, Gaffer. And he was like, should have, whatever. He comes to me and he said, why didn't you ask me? So I was like, you told me that I didn't have to ask you. So he's like, I did not say this. He said, why are you lying? And I was like, you fucking what? Do you know what I mean? You just like think, where's that come from? But he pulled me, Brad and Emil, but he sent Brad and Emil off from this thing. He said, Brad and Emil, sorry, you can go. And I thought he's just missed me. Anyway, so he goes, you're lying. So I said, I'm not lying. So you told me that with Brad and Emil. Like, get Brad and Emil. I don't need to get them back. I know what I told you. So he says, you owe me an apology. So I went, I'm not fucking apologising. I don't owe you nothing. So anyway, he was like, right, okay, go and train. So I went and trained and then came in the next morning. And as I walked into reception, the kit man's waiting for me and he goes, sorry, mate. He said, he's told me to tell you you're in the reserve team changing room. So I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you're in the reserve team changing room. So I walked into the first team changing room and my locker was directly opposite the door, pretty much like just to the left tiny bit, but you'd see me locker. And we had our name in like on a glass piece and it'd have like my name and the Villa badge and my number on it. And it'd been taken down off the locker. I was like, the fuck's going on here? So I walked into his office, knocked on the door and walked in and he went, I don't want to speak to you. He said, you're with the reserves now. And I was like, what? And he was like, you should have apologised. And I went, I'm not apologising for something that I've not done. I was like, you told me like that I could go home after games. Why do you keep saying this? And I was like, because you fucking told me. And he was like, go. So I walked out and I thought, I'll speak to him after training. Tried to speak to him after training. He wouldn't speak to me at all. Never played again. And he's still adamant now. Well, he still was adamant last time I saw him that I'd still done that. And I was like, I can categorically say, like hand on heart, I was like, you told me that. Told me I can go home after them games. And I just couldn't believe it. And that was like, from playing for England, 2 weeks later, reserves. Didn't kick a ball all season for Villa again. And I remember thinking, like, again, naivety and being stupid. So this was like November, that would have been November, latter end of November. I remember like being on the next pitch, training with the reserves. And like, you know what it's like, all the lads are like bantering you, giving you shit. I just started volleying balls into the pitch. I was like booting balls onto his pitch. And I was like, fuck you. Just every time a ball came to me in training, I'd just flick it up, bang it in. All the lads were like fucking ducking everywhere. I was just trying to ruin his session. And anyway, coming the next day and he went, Kev went, fucking hell, what you've done? Kev McDonald. I went, what? And he went, we've got a fucking train round the back now. We're not even allowed to train on our pitch. He moved our pitch around the back.
Moved them round?
Yeah, so he put us round the back onto this other pitch. And I was like put with like, there was me and like Jack Grealish was a youngster at the time. So he was training with us. And it was like, just got moved around the back out the way.
Well, I don't understand why this.
Yeah.
What stuff like weird stories about stuff like this.
That conversation, is it like, are you trying to say, like, listen, Gerrard, come, like, just break this down and have a sensible conversation about it?
Yeah.
And he's shutting it down.
Oh, he's shutting it down completely. And I tried to get my agent to go in. And he was like, I'm not having a conversation with an agent. And my agent was like, no, I'm coming in with Stephen. and you can bring in the chairman or the chief exec, whatever you want to do, we need to like sort this out.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. And then they went on a run where they weren't playing well at all. And I just said to my agent, listen, just tell him, like, I'm still willing to play. Just forget it. Forget the whole situation. Don't need him. Don't want him. Not interested. And I remember thinking, fucking hell. But even that was after what had happened in the January. So in the January, I think I went into training one day and I was outside and Gary McAllister came over and he pulled me and he said, listen, Liverpool have put a bid in for you to go back on loan, but a view to a permanent. And he said, we want you to go. Like, we think it's a good move for you. And I was like, fucking can't wait. Thinking,
I think it's a good move for me as well.
Yeah. So he said, like, Kenny wants you to go back and like go and get it sorted. So I fucking sprinted like you've never seen, get in the room, ring my agent. I went, is this true? And he was like, yeah, it's all, we're going to get it all sorted this afternoon. So I'm thinking, fucking brilliant. And then my agent rings me that night and he went, you're never going to believe what's happened. And I was like, what? And he was like, apparently like the manager was away when it happened, got wind of it, and then basically turned around and said, tell them we want a 500 grand fee, loan fee. I think it was £1 million loan fee. And Liverpool went, we're not paying that. And he went, well, it doesn't happen then.
Kiboshed it.
Just kiboshed it. So I turned around to my agent and said, well, I'll tell you what, half my wages and see if they'll do the deal off the back of that by paying a little bit, see if we can negotiate something. I'll take half my wages. So it went down. So he was like, right, I'll see what they say. Anyway, he just rang me back and he said, listen, the deal's dead. It's like, it's not happening. And I remember just thinking, you fucking horrible man. I was furious.
See, I'm probably getting sacked there. I'm probably winning and hitting him.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to.
I'm not a violent man, but
no.
I think I'm...
Yeah, I was fuming. Like, never been so angry. Do you know, you think, like, how can you stop someone playing football? But it was almost like, because it was Liverpool, he wanted to piss me off even more. But, like, even... The strange thing was, I even had, like, Gary McAllister was my manager at Coventry. And I had, like, a really good relationship with him. And then when he went in at Villa, he just sided with Gerrard all the time. And I remember thinking, like, you've not helped me at all here. Like, I'm not, like, people might think I'm a dickhead. I don't think I'm a dickhead. I think I'm just like, I'm an honest guy. And like, I'll speak my mind at times and things like that. Might be to my one of my downfalls in the way I am, to my detriment. But I'm not a knobhead. I'm not going to cause massive issues. But like, and he could have fought me corner a bit. I thought after that season, Gerrard left and he took over for a bit because Gerrard got ill and he took over for a bit. And I remember going to a charity golf day in Portugal, and I walked into the hotel and Gary McAllister was the first person to see, and he came over and he knew all people were around. He's like, Stevie, how are you? And I thought, you fucking cheeky bastard. Do you know what I mean? You just think, like, you've not helped me at all, or not tried to do anything to smooth this situation over. You've killed me, moved back to Liverpool, and then you want me to be your best mate? I was like, wow. But some people have got front like that, haven't they?
See, I'm on that front. I'm saying, are you fucking winding me up, you dick? In front of everybody.
Well,
in front of McAllister.
Well, I just sort of shook his hand, pulled him in and was like, you fucking cheeky bastard. I didn't make a scene. Because again, I'm thinking, I've got like a reputation now as being fucking someone who's causing trouble. Because that was the way it was perceived in the press.
You were kicking balls all over the place, like.
One day. One day. It'd have been longer if it had been allowed. But no, but that was the thing. I wasn't that type of person.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What was his reason? What did McAllister say?
He didn't, because it was like, I didn't want to make a scene around everyone. Because again, it's not my personality to suddenly go and have a big, massive argument, because it's not a nice thing to have, is it? I hate people thinking things of me and looking at me thinking, look at him, fucking dickhead.
He's trying to keep you in a job, isn't he?
Exactly.
He's trying to keep you in a job.
I half understand it, but then there's a side where you go, listen, I don't agree with it. Try and help you in any way I can, but he obviously agrees with it. And you think, right, okay.
And was it when McLeish came in, did you think it was second chance?
Yeah, well, it was. I remember thinking when he came in, like, what's going to happen with me? How's this going to be? I hadn't heard anything over the summer, and I thought I'd just report in, see how it goes. Walked in, remember speaking, sort of saying hello to everyone. He didn't say anything to me initially. And then it was the first day we'd finished training and I was having some lunch in the canteen and he came and sat next to me and he went, last season was tough, wasn't it? So I was like, yeah, really tough. And he went, don't worry. He went, you'll play under me. And I was like, phew, brilliant. And he just went, can you do me one favour though? And I was like, what's that? Because I hadn't moved because of the situation. He went, just move to Birmingham for me. He said, that's all I ask. He said, if you move, he said, you'll play every week. Brilliant.
How long have you got left on your contract at this point?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, great, no problem. I felt sorry for Alec because he had one of the hardest jobs coming from Blues, coming into Villa. No one wanted him, as in the fan group.
Yeah.
But he was a lovely guy, but he just didn't help himself on his first meeting. So have you ever seen the episode of Friends where Ross is reading and he sort of like reads and he scans the room and he does this thing? So we're in our first meeting and McLeish comes in and he sits down at the front in front of all the lads and he's got a sheet of paper and he goes, I am delighted to be Aston Villa manager. and all this, and the lads are going, what's going on here? You know, like reading it off a sheet of paper rather than just like whatever. And it was like a press conference to the lads. And I could just see a few of the lads like nudging each other thinking, what the fuck's he doing? And it was like first impressions are everything when you see a manager, aren't they? And a few of the lads just came out and sort of like, oh, I'm not so sure and things like that. Whereas my first interaction with him properly was brilliant. Yeah. And I thought he was a great guy.
We've heard plenty of times how big a club Villa actually is.
Yeah.
It's massive, isn't it?
It's huge. My first game was against Birmingham away in a derby. And I remember when we came down in the bus, it was getting fucking pelters and it was getting battered. And I remember thinking, my God, this is going to be brutal, this derby. And our end was fully packed out. And I thought, wow, this is a big club. Straight away, do you know, you just,
So you've already got changed from Olympiacos away.
Yeah.
Where
you're thriving on
sort of crawled your own arse a little bit.
Yeah.
As you said. Now you're thinking, fucking hell, I'm having a bit of this.
But the thing was, I was like, in my head, I remember thinking, like one of my mates pointed it out, he was like, you're a 9.5, I was the most expensive British or English left back in history when I was signed for 9.5 million. So straight away, that gave me like a massive confidence thing. Also being signed by a team, like a good team like Villa, like who are trying to get in Champions League, was a massive confidence booster to me. So straight away, I'm thinking like I'm a good player. In my head, I'm thinking I'm confident doing this. And also I'd had like really good 2 years at Blackburn where it gave me confidence to do that.
So it's unbelievable how quick football can change, isn't it?
Opinions, managers' opinions and things like that. It's absolutely incredible. And I remember Randy Lerner rang me one day. I sort of spoke to the lads after one of the games because we were struggling down the bottom of the league. And I was like, just sort of spoke after the game and said like, we need to sort this out and whatever. And whatever it was. And he rang me after the game and he said, listen, I know you did a big speech after the game. And he said, thank you. He said, I know what you've been going through as a team and I know what you're trying to do. Because I was like quite vocal around the training ground because I saw myself as like a senior player, an international and things like that. And I'm thinking like, I can play a role in this. So he thanked me and he was like, don't worry, like we're going to sit down this summer, sort a new contract out and things like that. And like, I'm so thankful to you. And I thought, like, great, I've got my career back on track and I was buzzing. And then at the end of the year, he sacked McLeish and McLeish went and he brought in Paul Lambert. And I remember I was on a Disney cruise on holiday with my family, like my ex-wife and kids. And I remember getting a phone call from my agent and my signal was in and out all the time. And he was like, I've just had a phone call from Villa. They're letting you go. Like, you can leave. And I remember thinking, just offered me a fucking 4-year deal. And apparently Lambert had just come in and said he didn't want me. Didn't see me as a centre midfielder. And I was thinking, I'm not a centre midfielder. Like, play me left back and you might see what I can fucking do. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, that's not your position and whatever. But we went to America that summer and he took me on tour and I'm thinking, right, I'm going to fucking show you what I can do. I went back the fittest I've ever been. I ran over the top of everyone and he called the team out on it. And he said, like, I've fucking told him he can leave in the summer. And like, look at his attitude. He's got the best attitude here. He's running over the top of all of you. That's how you fucking do it. And I thought, I've done this. I fought my way back in. And we went to America, and I remember walking past Randy Lerner, and I went to say hello to him, and he blanked me. He just walked past me, and I thought, oh, fuck, I'm in trouble here. Like, something's not right. And we went back, played 2 or 3 games back in England, played Nottingham Forest the week before. They were in the Championship at the time. We played Nottingham Forest, came in on the Monday, and he just went, have you got 5 minutes? And I thought he was going to say to me, listen, great attitude over the summer, like fucking made up, like the way you've come back in and like you're going to be playing. And he just went, right, that's you done. And I went, what? And he went, like, you'll be with the reserves for the rest of the year now. And I was just like, wow, where's that come from?
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did he bring a left back in, or who was the
Yeah,
other
he
left
brought
back?
in Joe Bennett from, I think he was from Middlesbrough at
Did he
the
end up
time.
with a Cardiff, him?
Yeah, he went to Cardiff, yeah.
I can just imagine you on that cruise. You've had the phone call from your agent.
Yeah.
The deal's off, and you're like, Mickey, fucking leave it out with him, mate. You can tell your mate Pluto he can fuck off and all.
Overboard.
Mickey, but
Let's just bum.
Yeah. And honestly, again, the lads were like, couldn't believe it, because I told all the lads like what had happened in the summer. And I said, listen, I think I'll be gone at some point. It's just like when and where. And I think what had happened is as well over that period, like my agent had knocked back a few things, basically, because I'd been giving him the feedback. I was like, listen, if I can stay here, I'd rather stay here, because I think I fought my way back into it, and like knocked back about 2 or 3 moves. And then you look back and you go, fucking hell. So I was just left in limbo then. I was like, I can't move anywhere. Got to wait for the window to reopen. So I just waited until the loan window opened, and then I went to Bolton for like 3 months or something like that.
You think you're just playing to
I just thought
a move out in January somewhere?
Yeah.
At least you're getting the games in.
Yeah, that was all. That was it in me thought in my head, and I thought as well, I'll move back home, get the family local, and then I'm not travelling far. I'm into Bolton. I can sort of try and get my head right a bit, living back round my mates and round the family and
Are
things
you
like that.
thinking that for your permanent move as well?
No, I was still thinking I was a Premier League player because they were in the Championship.
No, I mean in terms of Northwest. Like, just to settle down again, like you said, be close to family.
No, I
Or would
wasn't.
you
I
have
was
gone
just, I'd have gone anywhere, because in the January, I was driving to West Ham because Sam had gone to West Ham. And he rang me and basically said, right, come on, let's get you playing some footy.
Yeah.
He said, I'll sort you out. And I was like, right, okay.
Credit cards on the bar, Stephen.
I was
Come
like,
down.
get them lined up. But yeah, because Sam rang me and he said, listen, come and play for us. And then this is like, again, something where you look back and you think, should have backed myself, should have done it. So I had there was a clause in the contract. So it had been I'd have terminated my contract at Villa. I'd have gone on the same money at West Ham than I was on at Villa. But in the contract was that I had to play 12 out of the 13 games to trigger another year. But out of the 13 games, one of them was Villa. So I had to play 12 out of 12.
Right, yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to get shafted somewhere along the line here. Or if I get injured.
Play 11.
But if I get injured or if I get suspended or anything, I'm like, what do I do? So I was on my way down anyway. I thought, fuck it, I'm doing it. And I'm on my way down, and my agent, again, we're in the car. He's in the car in front of me, and he goes, need to pull over. So I was like, what's up? And he went, Leeds have rang. They're willing to give you 2.5 years. And I'm thinking, they were in fifth place in the Championship at the time. And I'm thinking, Leeds is a massive club. And I'm thinking, am I going to get the games at West Ham or whatever? Anyway, my agent convinces me to go to Leeds. So I was like, right, okay. So end up coming home, thinking about it, speaking to people and trying to get advice off people. But you're thinking it's 2.5 years or 6 months. Yeah. And I was thinking security, maybe a bit more Leeds and knowing where you're going to be.
How old are you as well?
I'd have been 31.
Right.
31, 32, maybe.
So getting into that.
Yeah,
where
so getting into that. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of overbalancing.
But then I'm thinking, what should I do? So I end up going to Leeds anyway. But what I found out later on was that West Ham signed Aaron Cresswell not long after, and he was with the same agency. And my agent had done Cresswell into West Ham.
No way.
And I was like, I rang him up and I just went, you're done. Just fucked him off there and then. But then what I also found out later on was, after that had happened as well, another golf event, and I got in a car with Christian Perslow, and he was like, I'm so sorry that move never happened. He said, we were desperately trying to get that done. And I was like, I know. I said, fucking hell. I said to my agent as well, and like obviously he told you to, like, I'd take a wage cut. And he was like, he never told us that. And I went, what? And he was like, no, that never got relayed to us. He said, that was your wage, wasn't it? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, we knew that. And I said, would it have got done if the half was on? And he was like, yeah, it'd have got done. And I was like, fucking hell. So I remember just thinking, like, double whammy. He'd done me on the Aaron Cresswell and he'd done me on that as well.
So is he at bottom of the river, him?
He's got off with Mickey.
Yeah. He's been off with Mickey. He'd be wearing fucking concrete shoes, that club.
Yeah.
Fucking not
yeah,
many.
so it was just one of them where you go, fucking hell. So went to Leeds, and to be honest, it was brilliant at Leeds for a period where you just go, like, again, when you talk about Villa being a massive club, they are fucking huge. The following they've got is phenomenal.
What were it like for you mentally, playing away at Yeovil as opposed to away at Old Trafford and all that? Were you all right with that? Or did you find it tough?
No, found it tough. But what helped was I had Michael Brown alongside me as well, who'd been a Premier League player, and like his attitude is phenomenal. Like the way he approaches training, things like that. And I sort of bounced off him a lot because of the way his attitude was. I felt sorry for myself for a bit. I think as well, I hate being disrespectful, but like if I made an overlap or a run forward at Blackburn, two guys would pick me out. But then I'd have Milner and Petrov at Villa. And then I went to Leeds and I'm making runs and the ball's not coming. I'm thinking, not quite seeing it. So you have to change your game. And I remember just becoming a static fullback, thinking, I'm not fucking running forward.
No point.
No. And to be honest with you, I probably dropped my standards because of it as well. Just thinking, like, probably thought I could go down into the Championship and piss it, which you can't. And I struggled for a bit, to be honest with you, because I thought I'll go Leeds and maybe I'll stay for 6 months to a year and someone will buy me. Yeah, someone will buy me because they'll just go, mate, he's too good for the Championship. But I remember speaking to Wayne Bridge about it when I retired, because Bridgie went to Reading and he said exactly the same. He went, like, I was making runs and doing things and it wasn't coming to me. And he said, and I'm getting exposed and thinking, what the fuck's going on here? And he just said, like, I had exactly the same problems. That's just part and parcel of it, isn't it?
You know, like when you're saying when you go up a level, you've got to change. Obviously, when you come down a level, he's playing with players like us, isn't he? He's not playing with John Carew now, is he? He's playing with Chris Brown.
No, but it's the level
John
of
Parkin.
I must have dropped yourself out when I just left me in there.
I just reversed on myself.
yeah. No, but it's mad though, because like you can see players now who will be in a Premier League team, and if you move them into the Championship, they will look different because of the systems and how they play and things like that.
Were you at Leeds when all the chaos were going on with the new owners coming in?
Cellino.
Massimo Cellino, yeah. That was a shit show. The setup at Thorpe Arch was incredible, like really good training facilities. And they had like, they had the swimming pool and then they had the ice baths and the jacuzzi and things like that. And I remember being sat, I'd just done my ice bath, jumped in the jacuzzi, and he walks in and we were all like, because we got told he was coming in. And as he walked in, he basically just blanked us, but turned round to one of the guys who was showing him round, and he went, this can go, about the ice bath and jacuzzi. And he said, and that needs to be emptied, about the pool. And, you know, straight away you're thinking, fuck's going on here? And it was like, a guy who used to work at the club for years called Sticks, and he's not there anymore. And he basically said, cost cut everything. Anything that you can take money out of, just run it down and like make it run more cheap, and get a message. And I'm thinking, this is a wind up. This can't be true. You need to buy your own slips and socks for the season for training. So I'm thinking, really? Then the next message comes through. Every day you need to bring in your own lunch as well.
Pat lunch.
You need to bring a pat lunch in and your breakfast if you want breakfast. You can make it in the kitchen. There'll be a kettle and a toaster and stuff like that. There'll be a fridge to leave stuff in if you want to leave it in. Got rid of all the chefs and everything. So Lucy Ward, who's now on, like, does the commentaries and that, Lucy was, she looked after, like, the younger teams. She was like their welfare officer or something along them lines. Lucy was unbelievable. So Lucy got wind of it and she was like, right, what I'll do is I'll get a kitty off the lads every week. And she said, I'll go and get like pastas from like like somewhere, they'll make us a massive tray of it and I'll get it all warmed up for you and ready for you. She was doing that every fucking day for the lads. It was an absolute shambles.
The thing is as well, you're not wanting to leave a tub of jam in the fridge, are you? In a training ground.
No,
also,
no
there's with pubes in it and all sorts, isn't there? Lads dipping the fucking ending and all sorts.
Fucking hell. Yeah, not good.
You smelling the mill? Oh, no.
What are you taking in your back lunch?
A Twix, sandwich,
Penguin.
bag of Pom Bears.
Pom Bears.
And a short fruit.
Frooms are getting fired at table, I know.
No, it's when you buy top and just some... It were a shambles. I mean, people might think, well, you buying your own slips and your own socks. It's a bit petty for footballers to think. But it's fucking, that's just like standard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your kit, innit?
Yeah. That's part
Food,
and parcel
though,
of it.
that's your fuel, isn't it? As
Yeah,
an
yeah.
athlete.
Yeah, that's part
It's a
of being
part,
professional, really, isn't it?
Yeah. But it was an absolute disgrace. We were playing Bournemouth away and Billy Sharp was in the hotel. Like, we were all in the hotel, but Billy was like, I said to him, do you want to grab a coffee or whatever down the restaurant? And he was like, yeah, sound. So I messaged him and I was running a little bit late. So I said, message him, I'll be down in 5. I've just been on the phone to someone. He's like, yeah, no probs. So anyway, he's down there and Chilino's like, basically like this wall here. And Chilino sat on the other side and he can hear Sharpie talking. Sharpie can hear him talking about me with Neil Redfern, who was manager at the time. And he goes, he says, I don't want Warnock to play tomorrow. Redders was like, well, he's playing. And he was like, no, he's not. He said, I want Cooper to start at left back. So Redders was like, no, it's my team. I'm picking the fucking team. So anyway, I come down and Sharpie tells me and I'm thinking, nah, come on. And he went, no, deadly serious. He said he doesn't want you playing. So I was like, fucking hell. So anyway, I pulls Redders and because I got on with Redders and I said to him, can you tell me that? And he was like, yeah, he has. He's asked me not to play you. Saying, fucking hell. I went, don't play me then. He went, no, I'm playing you. And I was like, cheers. Like, I was made up.
Yeah, that's good from Redders, that, innit?
Did you feel a bit of pressure, though, that you had to perform?
Yeah, massively. But I knew I would.
Yeah.
Or felt I would. And I was like, so I played that game and I was like, played really well. And I thought, like, I remember turning round at the end of the game, fucking glaring at him in the stand. Comes the summer, anyway, that was towards the end of the season. He bought in Dave Hockaday. And I don't know if you ever heard the story about that. So how he signed him. He was at a meal, Dave Hockaday in London, seen Chilino, introduced himself, said he's good enough to manage Leeds and give him the job. Got like...
Bring your packed lunch Monday, you're in.
Yeah. But Hockaday was a top man, right? Really nice guy, but arguably out of his depth. Good coach.
He'd been at Forest Green, any previous.
Yeah, but he was a decent enough coach, but for the level of Leeds, getting them into the Premier League, probably not. But I liked him. I thought he was a nice guy.
Was he going to stand up for lads who maybe he was told not to play?
Well, this is the thing. So we were playing Watford away and we're playing the game and sort of 15 minutes into the game, I can see Hockaday having a conversation on the bench and it's like heated. And I'm like looking round and I thought nothing of it. Anyway, they went through Watford and I made a challenge in this game, like where I basically saved a goal. Went up the other end, we scored a goal, but I assisted it. And then we got a centre-back sent off, this Italian lad. So he comes in at half-time and it's kicking off in the showers. And we're all sat there thinking, what the fuck's going on here? And it's like, I can't even remember who it was now, but it's Hockaday and a few of his staff. And we were like, I was captain. So I walked in and I was like, what the fuck's going on in here? And he went, I shouldn't be telling you this, but I'm going to have to tell you. He went, 10 minutes into the half, he said, we got a phone call from Sticks up in the director's box, who's sat next to the chairman. Chairman's leaned over and said, tell Hockaday to sub Warnock. He's not playing well. So then Hockaday gets the call and he goes, no. He's like, I'm not fucking doing that. Someone's answered the phone on the bench because he always wanted contact. Makes this challenge, sets the goal up, and he rings back up and he went, scrap that, keep him on. So comes in at half time and he says to me, this is what I'm fucking dealing with. And he said, so I just took my boots off and I went, listen, I'll take it out of your hands. I'll just come off. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And he was like, no, you're not coming off. And I was like, no, I'm coming off. I'm like, I'm not having this. And he was like, do me a favor, for me, stay on. I want you to stay on and play. So I was like, right, fine. Stayed on. Played really well. We got beaten the game. I think we got beat like 4-1, but it was because we had the Italian lad sent off. After the game, a few of the lads are like wanting to go to London and stuff. And I said, listen, just be careful here because you're going to put the gaffer in a load of shit. He's under pressure here. So there's loads of talk about him getting sacked. So I went and spoke to him and I said, listen, what do you want the lads to do? We can come back on the bus if it helps you. The lads have all agreed to that. He went, no, just put them, don't worry about it. Stick them on the bus, like tell them they can go. So I told all the lads and he was like, yeah, you can go, whatever. So get a phone call 45 minutes on the bus. We're on the bus and he pulls me and he goes, I've just been sacked. So I was like, what? He went, he's just sacked me. And I was like, because of what happened with me? And he was like, no, he said it was because of the result and stuff like that. So I was like, fucking hell. Rings back up half an hour later. Scrap that. Come in on Monday. You can carry on. That's the type of person you were dealing with. So because of them like couple of incidents that had happened, I was like, I need to get out of here. This isn't going to end well. No. So I got like Derby were in contact and wanted me to go to Derby, and I'd like sort of agreed to do the deal. We played Derby for like on TV and I was at Leeds. I got on the bus afterwards and I was going to Derby. It had all been agreed. And I got on the bus and he was sat on the front of the bus, the owner, and he turned around to me and he went, I want you to stay. He said, I give you a new 2-year deal. And I went, I would not fucking sign that for anything. I went, I'm going tomorrow. And he was like, okay. He's fuming. But he was like, okay.
Trying to be calm.
Yeah, trying to be calm. And he tried to scupper the deal the next day, but it went through. But I remember thinking, like, you cheeky bastard. Yeah. So that was a very strange situation, but a lot of lads had problems with him.
Been caught up in a lot of politics, haven't you, throughout your career?
I know. Yeah, common denominator, aren't I? Yeah, but I do look back on it and think like there's probably a lot of it I could have prevented.
Yeah.
But again, it's like I've got like such high standards, which I probably would change now, where I'd look back at it and think like maybe there's things like I shouldn't get involved in and to step away from and just go fucking just leave it, just let it go by the wayside. But the way I was at the time, I was like I couldn't let it go.
Did it get easier in though? Obviously went on to Derby, Wigan, Burn. Did it get easier?
No.
In that time?
No, it didn't. I loved Wigan. Absolutely loved Wigan. That was like enjoying footy again. Like Gary Caldwell was unbelievable. Like arguably one of the best coaches, managers I played under.
The other guy who's at Exeter now.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll come back up? Do you think he'll get another job?
Off the back of seeing him what he did, I hope he does, and I think he will. I think he took a massive knock of confidence. I think like when I spoke to Gaz when he left Wigan, he wanted to get back in the game dead quick because he felt it was like, I can't stay out of it for too long. But really he should have stepped away and assessed everything a little bit more. He was so unfairly treated, I felt, at Wigan. Like got them into the Championship. We got promoted from League One, went into the Championship. And I think he'll probably admit it. He probably signed too many players. No, you can change too many things at once. We had like a great team spirit and he bought a lot of new players and it changed the dynamic of the changing room. And it was interesting when I spoke to him, he said he spoke to Eddie Howe about going up with Bournemouth. And he said, what did you try and achieve? And he said, I only bought 3 players. He said, because I was so worried about changing the dynamic in the group. It was massively important to keep that team spirit. Whereas I think Gaz signed about 9 or 10 players. And it's like, it's too many. And I thought I'd probably retire at Wigan after that next season and then just go into coaching full time. But then when that didn't happen, I was a bit like, oh, fucking hell, what am I going to do? And then like Nigel Clough called me and just said, do you want to come here? And I was a bit like, I'd done a lot of travelling back and forth, and I thought, I'm not sure if I want to do this. And I went in and I enjoyed it for the first bit, and then I found it really difficult. Just the travelling and stuff like that. And yeah, I wasn't playing well either. And I think just my heart wasn't in it. And then I moved to Bradford after that.
We did have a few Bradford fans get in touch because you played for them twice, haven't you? You went on loan. Was it your first loan move?
Yeah, and then went after it. And to be honest with you, that was the reason I went back, was because I'd started there and I thought, I want to finish there. And they were in the playoff positions, and Stuart McCall was manager. And he just rang me and he said, listen, I need some experience, come in, help the group and whatever. I went in and he got sacked the game after, I think. So you think, fucking hell. We were in the playoffs.
Was that the Rajic? Edin Rajic?
Yeah. I didn't really know too much about him. Met him once. That was the day I signed. But I did like quite a few things about him, and I thought it was very similar to Leeds, if I'm being honest. A lot of cost cutting and things like that. But I was thinking, I'm only going for 3 months. Yeah. Like, it'd be fine. And then, to be fair, I enjoyed my time there because Simon Grayson came in, and he was great with me. I was playing, and I got a phone call from my agent at the time saying, would you be interested in doing a radio show for 5 Live? And I was like, when is it? And he was like, Tuesday night. So I was like, yeah, go on. It was like only in Manchester. So I went in, did this radio show, came out, did an hour or 2 hours, and they were like, well, what are you doing Thursday? Do you reckon you could come back and do another show? And I was like, yeah, I quite enjoyed it actually. Like, really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. So I thought, yeah, I'll come back in on Thursday. Went back in on the Thursday. And then after that show, they went, what are you doing on Sunday morning? So I was like, why? And he was like, I don't know whether you remember it, we used to do a match of the day extra. So it was a show on a Sunday morning on TV, but it was like a radio show. They never showed any goals or anything. It was just like a topic-led thing, and you just chat about it. And I said, yeah, I can do that. So
was the first one in front of the cameras?
Yeah. So I went and seen Simon Grayson and just said, listen, I've been asked to do this on Sunday morning. I'm just thinking long term, it might be something I want. He was like, absolutely, get it done. Like, try and do that if you can do it. And I just started picking little bits up. And I think that was around about March time. And I started picking little bits up off the back of all this. And like 5 Live were offering me loads. And they kept on I did a few commentaries for them. And then it was the end of the season, coming towards the end of the season. I'd just picked my kids up round the corner at school. And I was in the car with like my ex-wife, and we were driving back home, and I got a phone call from the guy who'd been booking me, and he went, just a quick question. He was like, what's your plans next year? So I was like, in what way? He was like, are you carrying on playing, or are you going to call it a day? So I was like, how come? And he just went, we've got loads of work for you, and we'd love to have you on board. And I was in the car, and I went, yeah, I'll do it then. And like my ex looked at me and was like he's making that quite quick. And I was like, it just felt right. Do you know when you just go,
you're actually retiring, you know?
Yeah. But I didn't think of it that way. I just thought, what an opportunity. Yeah, because I'd loved what had gone on for the first couple of months. And I remember going to see Simon. I spoke to him after a game, and I just pulled him and I said, listen, I'm going to announce tomorrow that I'm retiring. And he was like, you can't. And I went, why? And he went, there's a month left of the season. I went, no, I'm going to carry on for the month. But then I'm retiring. So I'm just saying, like, I'm ready to retire and things like that. And he was like, oh, right. Like, what's happened? So I just said, I've got an opportunity here. And I just said, I'm going to go for it. And he was brilliant with me. Do you know, like, he just went, listen, you're going to play every game. He was like, I'll make sure that happens from now until the end of the season. He was like, I've absolutely loved working with you. He's like, you've been brilliant for the group and all stuff like that. And like the way he looked after me on my last game was like unbelievable. Like made me captain and bought me off and things like that. Like played away at Scunthorpe and I got like a nice reception and things like that, but from the whole ground. But he led it. He was like the one like stood on the touchline leading. And I thought, what a fucking great guy.
And now you're just battering fucking rest for a living.
Yeah.
Perfect, innit?
Great.
They are fucking crap, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'd love to do your job for one Monday morning and see what reaction it'd get. Yeah, they're all fucking cunts. They're all shit. They're all crap.
Yeah.
VAR's a shambles.
Do you have to go through certain amount of media training and stuff at Sky? Or?
To be honest with you, I went into it blind.
Yeah.
Massively blind. And BBC were brilliant with me. So they've got a guy called Rob Nothman who basically trained up the likes of Alan Shearer, Gary Lineker, works with all the people at the BBC and trains them, but he's also a reporter for them and works on the station. But he is like, his level of detail and what he tells you and how to do things.
Yeah.
It's little things like when you're working on the radio, it's a different style to working on TV. And I never really thought of it in that way. And he was like, you're telling the story in a different way. We can all see what's on the telly. So he's like, you've got to tell us why it's happening and what's happening.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're on the radio, he's like, paint me a picture of what's going on. I need to know what's going on the pitch. Describe it to me. Tell me exactly what's going on. But then you've got to, when you do TV, you've got to be able to work with the director in your ear saying there's a replay coming in 5 seconds and it's going to be this. And you've got to be able to listen to that whilst listening to the commentator, whilst thinking about what you're going to say. So it was all like new to me. Then you start to learn, if I want to talk about a player, hit the director button and go to them. That mutes my mic. Commentator's still talking. Bring me up Mo Salah. Need to talk about him. I'll get you a shot in the next 20 seconds. I'll plug you when I'm coming in. Brilliant, thank you. Play continues. Mo Salah comes up. I jump in. Commentator knows about it. And it's like little things like that where I was just like, fucking hell.
Yeah, so
but
there's a lot of different moving parts.
Yeah,
you're learning
massively.
on the job, but the job's on telly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's
If you
the
fuck up,
difficult
you fuck
part.
up. Fuck up.
Yeah, well, I remember I work for NBC out in America as well. So, but it's like I know how lucky I am, but I've almost been on trial for the last few years with NBC. When I went out there, I remember the first time I went out, the boss basically prepped me for probably about 4 or 5 hours, show me clips of the show, how it works. He'd send me like links to it and I'd just look at it and see what the best way of doing it was and how they announce the teams. Everything's put onto the pundit to do their team announcements and why they're in and what the goals are and things like that. So that was all new to me. So the first time I did it, it was a bit of a shock, to be honest with you, how quick it was. And you come away at the end of the day, it's like, it's fucking tiring. Like you mentally, you're exhausted. But it's brilliant. I absolutely love it.
Nigel Pearson have a scrap with Mel Morris before a game at Derby.
I went there with Nigel, so I don't know that. Yeah, I think he coming after me, had he? Must have been. Yeah, because he went in as like an interim, did he?
Talking of spelling typo admin errors.
Go on.
Did nice Pearson. You were Rafa in disguise, you.
Was that yours?
Autocorrect.
At least it didn't cost fucking somebody 200 grand.
You never know.
Cheers.
No,
mate.
Tom,
Really
Really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Really, really disappointed.
What with? Not the episode.
Raphael.
Benítez.
Oh, the fat Spanish waiter.
What a twat.
Oh, you have to bring his weight into it.
That's what they used to call him, innit?
Just the Spanish waiter.
Oh, nothing about
But
being
he were a
fat.
bit chunky, wasn't he?
Sorry, Rafa.
He was weighty, but
I don't know if it were lack of organisation or lack of care.
But you know what? We filmed the episode recently and apparently he had OCD. That must have played havoc with his OCD, getting the wrong name on the bloody team sheet.
Oh, I thought you meant moving glasses and stuff in restaurants.
Oh, but yeah, OCD surely under the same umbrella.
Yeah, it's all going to be.
Getting the right names on a list, Chris. Fuck me.
But that's like, for somebody who's such a reputation for being such a perfectionist
Iconic manager.
and all
Yeah.
that, it's like worse than schoolboy, innit?
So is he cemented into the shit list?
Yeah,
He's in.
He's
To be
in.
fair, we heard some other not so good. Some criticism, should we say,
cold.
recently as well. Cold, I think, is the word.
But it was good to go from different managers. Well, featured a lot on here. So there was him, Martin O'Neill, Big Sam. You know, different ways of managing
Yeah.
players. And,
All very successful.
you know, like,
From who we've heard about, who would you most like to play for? And I know you're going to say.
Yeah, it's only got 3 letters.
Yeah.
Big Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Get him in,
for-
I think they should get him in at a big club.
Like who?
Man
United.
United. Yeah. I'd love it if they got him in. I'd love it. I'd love it. Do you not think he'd do all right?
Yeah, I do.
The thing is, he'd probably do well.
I do.
I bet he's got to be furious with his son, isn't
With the England thing.
he? Yeah.
I'd love to speak to him about that.
Yeah, if you fancy coming on, Sam, I'd love to have you on. But no, I mean, the Martin O'Neill thing still blows my mind. Like how blasé and unorganised and, would you say, what word am I looking for? Amateurish, yeah. Amateurish way that he...
Successful, though, in Villa.
Leicester.
And Celtic.
Yeah. Very successful.
Yeah.
But weird how it never worked after that, innit?
Yeah.
The Sunderland, I don't think he did too well at Ireland.
Is that because of a change
in players?
maybe.
Players' attitudes to how you deal with them and stuff?
But
there's always room for a big Sam, isn't there, Chris?
always true. And I'm sure you'd all agree, by the way, we were right in the intro, weren't we? About Stephen.
Yeah.
Yes. Brilliant episode.
If
Proper curveball.
If you've not changed your mind on him, whatever your mind were to start with, well, you're not fucking real.
Thanks to everybody as well who came to the live shows.
Yeah, we're still
Nottingham,
Still in recovery mode, haven't we, lads?
still in it. Yeah. Did you say Nottingham?
Yeah. Do we not do Nottingham?
No, about fucking 9 months ago.
Yeah, no, I said all of them.
Oh, right, yeah. Thanks for everybody who came to Barnsley in 2018.
No, this year, dickhead.
As long as I get a little nibble out of it, that's enough for me. Yeah, we've had some good crack, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh, we've got a Sheffield one coming up.
Sheffield, 23rd of May
Yeah.
for Sheffield Children's Hospital. So,
And we're going to have a little break then for summer.
yeah, I tell you what we'll do. We'll have 3 or 4 weeks off. We'll go to Germany and get wankered, shall we? For 2 weeks.
He said he's having a quiet May.
It's all escalating. There's playoff games. There's playoff final. There's Sheffield.
Birthday
We're on about going
parties.
to the. We're on about going to Euros. If anybody wants to get involved with that, then get in touch.
Involved as in want to meet for a drink or?
No, just like any people with millions of pounds who want to throw our way.
Anybody want to sponsor
Get
the
some
videos
tickets,
or out like
sponsor
that?
the videos, anything like that. That'd be good if you just give your boss a nudge.
And if you're not a Patreon, remember to get involved.
Yeah.
Get on the telly.
Because we're going to be eating and drinking a lot over there, aren't we?
But we're going to have some more live shows coming probably October, November, December time-ish. So, yeah, we'll talk about that.
We're back on the dance floor before you know it.
Yeah. And just before we finish, massive thank you to MatchBingo for sponsoring this episode. Dobbers out.
Can I call it a dibber?
Eyes down.
Eyes down, look, it's a dabber.
Right. Comments. Let us know. Is it a dibber, a dobber, or a dabber?
Dabber. You've got me now. I've lost my zen now. A dabber. It's a dabber.
It's a dobber.
So thank you very much for listening. Thanks for signing up to Patreon.
And we'll see you next week.
Adios.